expectations. It's not overnight. This is not a sprint, social media. It is a marathon. You will not necessarily get traction right away. You almost have to have faith. You just gotta be putting out there, I'm putting out these cute posts of these adorable dogs, painting, and nobody's liking them. Wait, they will eventually like them. You just have to keep putting it out. You just have to keep creating content. It's just critical. You are part of Web 2.0. This is good news for you. This is the first time where I don't have to be technologically savvy to make something happen on the internet. It's click and play. It's drag and drop. I don't love WordPress, but there's 55 million tutorials on how to build a WordPress website, from registering the domain name to my final subscription count. I don't need to hire anybody for it. I do not need to spend $2,500 on a website. It's click and play. It's drag and drop. Which means with no technological know-how, all you have to be able to do is search Google to figure out how to do what you're trying to do. So it's a time when you can do it with no money for yourself. All right. Do not outsource your social media to anyone. Everybody wants to do this. They're like, oh, I got a nephew, and he's really good at Facebook, and I'm going to let him run that. But the thing is that no one understands who you are as a creative person better than you. No one knows what your brand is better than you. No one knows how to talk to your fans, followers, and collectors better than you. And you never want to give that space away unless you somehow get to 1 million followers. These are wonderful problems to have, and then you have to have a little team of people answering emails for you. But for the purposes of building your audience, no one's going to build it better than you can. So this isn't something you're like, God, I got to get a technically savvy kid out there, and he's going to really help me get through this, and you don't want to do that. It's yours. You're going to protect it. You're going to own it. All right. The myth of Google. The thing to think about Google, and the most important thing to know about Google is Google, and I'm going to say this again and again and again, is a blind person in a hurry. That's all you need to know about talking to Google. When someone says, search engine optimization, what they're really saying to you is how your files are described, and the descriptive sentences on your blogs, web pages, pictures, all the places that you're at, because Google only reads text. It does not see your pictures. So whenever you're trying to figure out how to name or title something, everybody wants to go, my name, fabulous, wonderful name that I came up with, a painting. They might include abstract. Google has no idea what you're talking about. So you'll see somebody who's not particularly good, and they'll have something that's getting it's pulling up every time you're searching. It's because they thought to name it red, abstract, freestyle, awesome. Because they did their search engine. They looked at their keywords, and they were like, everyone's searching for red, abstract, awesome. So they made sure they titled it that first and then stuck their name in there as part of it. So their stuff is going to pull up. Right? And it really is a game about how you're naming things. One of the other things that I have is Heart Party, which is my online teaching YouTube channel. And Heart Party. Yeah, it's about recovering people back into a creative lifestyle who maybe have been a little damaged along the way by art teachers or helpful relatives. Because not everyone is survivors like us. Some people just give up the crayons early and go, well, that sucks. So we're trying to get them back to being creative again. And I was so oh, I'm going to name it Heart Party, and we're going to open our hearts and get to our art and all this stuff. What I didn't know is a very famous actor named Kevin Hart throws a lot of parties. Did not do my research on that. So here I am, I'm all it is a sea of celebrity pictures. Now, I'm all up in this guy's biz. I am sure he's talking to social media people going, what is this girl with the hat? And why is she in my search results? Because I titled things better. Google can see me now, and so Google is returning hits, even on an incognito window. The other thing that you need to know for social media, content creation, curation, and what that means to you. For the internet, you are one thing. You are a content creator. That's what everyone on the internet is looking for. They're looking for content. Your artwork is content, right? The images to look at. If you write helpful articles about how to paint something or do something, that's content. When you blog about your journey as an artist and everything that's happened to get you there, that's content creation. And the quality of your content and the way that you curate that, and we all understand curation because we're constantly in art spaces, helps you find your followers. Really good curators will do really well on the internet. Now, okay, the other thing that we want to talk about is sticky growth, right? Sticky what? Sticky. You'll hear social media mavens talk about you're sticky. What sticky means is that the eyeballs looking at you, right? Like, so Facebook will say, oh, 20,000 people saw this post. And then you're like, but I got like 100 likes. The 100 likes are what was sticky, right? So Facebook sent it out to a whole bunch of random people, but of those random people, only 100 cared what you were talking about. So of those people, only 100 matter to you. Those are your sticky, relevant consumers. So those that you can make comment, make like, and make share, and pin your stuff, and talk about you, those are sticky. Right? All right. Now, we were talking about Jasmine Beckett Griffith. And 800 likes on Facebook. She's 3,000 followers on Twitter. Not artist strong on Twitter, but she is rocking her Twitter. She is at 1,000 followers on Pinterest, but I've watched her followers buy every paint. If I had the money for her paintings, I couldn't buy her paintings because they're sold. People hang out there waiting for her to post anything. Anything. You know, which is, I think, a great place to be on. You know. Okay. The other thing about social media that we're going to cover today is it's social. It's social. It is not impersonal. It is not something that you can kind of any more than you can check out on a conversation and stare off into space. You can't do it in your social media. People know, and they'll drop you.
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again.
Well, any more than you can check out on a conversation. Like, say you're at a dinner party and you just start to wander off and you're not paying attention to what people are saying. You can't do that on social media either. People will drop you. They'll unlike wander off. What do you mean?
So what does that have to respect?
Okay, so what that would mean is we were just talking about this on the VAA, that people were posting comments and things up on the VA side feed. And one of my recommendations of the VAA was to take those posts, put them into the main feed, comment on them, interact with them.
Interaction.
I mean, we all know everybody here cares a tremendous amount about every win of every VAA member, but when you put it in the main feed and you say, hey, so-and-so had a show, are you going? What do you think about that? Then that demonstrates that they're present in the social media conversation. So say you had a fan comment to you, you must respond. That is an absolutely essential thing that you have to do.
Can you respond even to put like on their comment, or you're saying more than that?
Well, what I'll do is at the end, I'm gonna go through all of the comments and questions, but I will cover that during the lecture, exactly how to respond. We're gonna go to Facebook, okay? So we're gonna be talking about Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, blog, website, Google+, and LinkedIn. And then the panic attack that you're going to have when you realize your stuff is everywhere all over the internet, because that will come. Okay, Facebook. That's the one I think most artists know, and they're like, I know I need to be on Facebook. Right? The teenagers are gone now. They've dropped Facebook. It is no longer the cool place to be. It belongs to the consumers, which is great for us. right? Kids are off to Reddit and Tumblr and a whole bunch of other weird little social media feeds. Their parents and grandparents are not on. So they can be crazy, no one can get mad at
What's
them.
the name of them again?
Like Reddit, Tumblr. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Snapchat, which I think is the silliest thing in the world. Doesn't have anything to do with us as an artist. Now, the feed, the Facebook feed, which is where you live, right? What is that? That is an algorithm that's looking for content that's relevant. So in the Facebook world, a funny squirrel falling out of a tree during a snowstorm is as important as a war. And if more people like the squirrel, it's going to come out in the feed more than the war. There could literally be a tsunami taking out your town, but you'd hear about that squirrel before the tsunami. So the feed isn't fair. It's not just. One of the things to know about Facebook is sometimes they mess with us.
Yeah.
It's like there's constant articles written about them going, how can we make everyone feel today on Facebook? So they're constantly tweaking their algorithm. Those of us that had fan pages noticed that they dropped the organic reach to 1% recently for a little
What
while.
does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well,
Organic.
so say you have 4,000 people that like you.
Mhm.
It will show it to 1% of those people
Oh, yeah.
without promotion. Because they're trying to make us promote. Now there's ways to get around the feed. Because if you remember, Facebook likes the squirrel that fell out of the tree. So you can use that against Facebook. If you understand how Facebook plays, then you can play against Facebook. And that's when we get to what to post. Okay? And how to post it. 50% of your content is super exciting and entertaining and uplifting and the kind of thing people just have to click on or they're gonna die, like the cutest puppy they've ever seen in their life, painting. 50% of your content is about what you're doing. You put the cute, adorable, attractive content out so that people get in the habit of liking it. When they consistently like what you post, Facebook will show them everything you post. So a friend of mine that's really good at social media that I talked to online had an insurance company, had this really massively successful insurance company campaign and Facebook page, like silly, like crazily so. Well, he was like, cute kids and puppies get traction, so they would post all kinds of insurance-related cute kids and puppies. People would like it, because it's not sales, it's not spammy, it's cute, they like it. And then, when they got a sale or some promotional thing that they put out there, everybody would see it. And then they would get their sticky reach, which are people that would care if they were getting a discount on insurance. This works for artists. So how I do this is, now my personal art brand, right, which is mostly based around Heart Party, is about uplifting and being inspiring. So I use a lot of art inspirational quotes. Because I know as an artist, I like to see things that help me remember that, you know, art is great, I'm great for being an artist, and so I put those things up there. I put content up of really inspiring other artists that make a difference. And then I do a tricky thing. I do selfies. Who here is uncomfortable with selfies? A selfie. All right, so 2013 was the year of the selfie, mostly started by teenagers. This is this jazz. Matt Adams is the king of selfie. Yeah, okay? He is selfie brilliant. He is the selfie master. Go to Matt Adams' page, look at his selfies. That's how you do it. It's perfect selfie every time. Selfie. Right? He's always like an interesting place. Selfie. Now that, and this term is on your handout, that's smosting. That's social media boasting.
Mosting?
Smosting. You know that when someone's like, oh, I'm on the Hawaiian beach. Don't you wish you were here? Oh, I'm with these celebrities. Don't you wish you were here? And you're like, ah, I'm home eating this microwave meal. I'm just so sick of seeing you in Hawaii. Go away. That's where smosting comes from. Smosting.
Smosting is what again?
Social media boasting.
Oh, okay.
But you need to do a little bit of it. Right? You need to do a little bit. So for an artist, a good way to do that is This is me in my studio working. People who love you and collect you love to see what you're doing. Go ahead and give that to them. If you're really like, I cannot have a picture of myself, pictures of work in progress count as well.
So I take a lot of photography of me reflected and stuff, and I always put that on Facebook.
Yes, yes. Now, Facebook, like picture posts, they say get 30% more engagement.
Yes,
I would say it's a lot more than that. Like I'll look sometimes on these like social media statistics and I'm like, my experience is, I can practically write, I've murdered all the cats in the neighborhood. And, but for my relatives, nobody's gonna read that. But if I put like a picture there, everybody's like, what is that? More than that, video gets attention. So your pictures, you get video. Well, we're artists. That's like our space, man. Pictures and video, I can do that.
Even if it's a 10-second clip.
Yeah. Now, if you're taking a picture of your artwork, and I'm sure you hear this from Matt all the time, take a good picture.
Yes.
Right? Right? Frame it well. Make sure it's color. Don't take a hot mess picture because no one is going to share that.
Hot mess.
Right? If it's just like, it's like kind of sideways, you can't really see what it was, and you know what I mean, where people forgot to clean their camera lens on their phone, it's fuzzy, no one's sharing it. No one. People who really love you might like it, but it's not going to get you collectors. It's not going to get you sales. You can absolutely tell people when you're putting up artwork, even as you're creating it, that it's for sale. You can do that. All because of what you're doing, right? So if you're posting up new work that's going to be available, be like, this new work is available. People will message you and be like, how much? You know, even if you don't put the price out there, but you can put the price out there. So here's a rough one. On your fan page and on your personal page, once you have fans, they will find your personal page. They will do it. Right? I have like 100 people or some crazy number of people silently following my personal page. They won't just stay on the Heart Party page. They come, they want to know what I'm doing the rest of the time. Which means I now have no more political opinions.
That's true.
I'm not a political artist. It isn't my brand. And since it isn't my brand, anytime I put up anything that's polarizing or upsetting, I have to assume I'm losing money. So you really got to think about every post, like, do I feel like losing money over this? If it's so emotionally important that you're like, yeah, I can drop 10 grand and I don't really need that money anyways, go ahead and post it. It's important. Or if you are an artist whose trade is about being polarizing and political, then definitely keep that up because you're like, you know, that's what you do and that's what your followers will want and you want to keep that up. But if you're like, I make beautiful pictures, no. It's unfortunate, but you just have to pretend you're like in a really uncomfortable dinner party all the time, and you have no, you're just like, you like everything and everything's good, and even if somebody is like awful, you either have to ignore it or say something like, ah, that's so great. Like the other day on my YouTube channel, a big fan of mine was like, she gave me a thumbs down and said it was too shaky of a video on our time lapse. It's a time lapse video. It's shaky. It's a time speed paint that we sped up the film. It's shaky. But, and my mom's like, I'm going to get on there and I'm going to say all this stuff. And I'm like, no, you can say nothing. And I went on and said, that's very insightful. Thank you for the input. I will let my dear husband know who edits the videos. How you felt about that. I really appreciate you making a comment. If I got upset, then every other fan on that page would get upset, and they would all yell at her, and I would lose her as an advocate. She shares my stuff, she comments on everything, she's valuable. I'm not going to break up our friendship over her not liking my video. But I see artists do this all the time. Somebody will be like, that is totally not the way I would paint that. And then the artist will just lose their mind all over them. And then everybody in their feed loses their mind. And they're going to lose some fans and followers. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
It's not personal.
it will feel personal, but you just have to remember, you know, that, you know, even if you're a can of peaches, there's always somebody who doesn't like peaches.
Well, and you kind of have to remember that the way things are said online may not be the way it comes out of somebody's mouth.
That's a very important point. We're going to talk about that today, which is you must control how people read what you write. Well, that's impossible to do. Because here's the scientific fact. You can watch a lot of TED, and what they'll tell you at the end of the day is people read things in the mood they're in.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So they've been in traffic all day, and then somebody cut in line, and they come home mad, and you wrote something that was funny. They don't read it funny, they read it mad.
Or snarky.
Ever had somebody just jump you for something, and you're like, I don't know what they're talking about. That's what that is. That's what emoticons are for. That's why I emote everything like an idiot.
Okay, wait a minute, emoticon.
Emoticons.
Smiley
Smiley
face.
face.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's what that is, okay.
Yeah. Smiley faces, that is. Facebook has those like free ones you can put in your messenger. Download a bunch of them, get good at them, because it will control. And I love now you can put them in the feed. Did anyone notice that you could emoticon in the main?
Yes.
That's so awesome because now I can control.
Where can you
So in the Facebook feed, you know you have the option, I'm going to post a picture, I'm going to have a link, I'm going to have that. Now on commenting, they're allowing emoticons. There's a little happy face. And it'll access all of your downloaded emoticons, which means you can make a comment and then put an adorable puppy going, yay! No one reads that mad. They're going to take your adorable puppy, assume you meant well, and move on. So you can totally control how you interact with everyone around you on all of your social media has some option for this. This man used to keep this massive file of funny meme images that he could just throw up for any conversation. And people were like, how do you always have that? He was so into controlling that emotional response to the conversation, before he had emoticons, he kept these images of long cats and funny things and grumpy cats, so he can control it. When to post. Have you ever noticed sometimes you put up something and it's like crickets are chirping?
Yes.
You're like, what? Is it not good?
Yeah.
Do you not like my painting? Probably you just posted a really terrible time. So if you go on Social Media Examiner, and I've given you guys that link on the website, and there's just so much information there for everything. You'll see a bunch of statistics that you're supposed to post on Facebook between 1 and 3 on Wednesday. Okay. I posted between 1 and 3 on Wednesday a lot in the beginning, and nobody cared. When I post at 8 to 9 in the morning, I get tons of traction.
On like a weekday?
On weekdays, Mondays through Fridays, Fridays being my worst day. I can post pretty much any time on the weekend, I'll get something. But for me, for my feed, for when my fans are on, man, it is between 8 and 9. And I can literally watch the numbers drop after 9 o'clock. I'll be home like, I have to get online and put this stuff up because I got like 15 minutes. I mean, I can hear the countdown clock, and it's because I've seen such an effect.
8 in the morning?
8 to 9 in my morning. I've talked to other people, and they'll find that they have a sweet hour. They do. There's some hour that their fans are online. Now, most of the artists I talk to seem to have this morning effect too, but some of them have very different times. So what I'm going to say is, go for 8 in the morning. It's been my best experience. That's my best recommendation to you, between 8 and 9. However, experiment. Right? Always be a little bit like Facebook, experiment on your feed. Like, you might notice, like, I got cat people. Just like everything with cats. All right, more cats, right? Or I have people that, like, anytime they look in my studio, more studio. If you see a post getting traction, pay attention to that, post more of it. Give them what they want, as much of it as they want, and you will get new likes. You'll retain the likes you have, and the people who like you will comment, click, share. Call to action. Number one thing I see people do that just means they're not going to get anywhere. They forget to ask people to do what they need them to do. So on Facebook, your call to action can be stuff like, hey, Monica's great at this, I don't know if you noticed this, Monica, like, I did this piece and this piece, what do you like better?
Right.
That's a call to action. You can sit there and say, I like to say, like the one you like the most. I'll have people vote on things. They love to vote on things. Another good one I've seen artists do, what do you think about the name? I'm thinking of these 3 names. Tim Brown Forneau is this illustrator that I follow. I like him because he gets like crazy thousands of likes on his posts. And he's always asking people what they think of his titles or new pieces in progress or what's going on. All of the artists that are succeeding, and they're artists in hundreds of thousands of likes. And they did not promote to get there. They just nurtured their fan base. Now they may have been there, if you look at their time online, they may have been there 5 years. They didn't like get to, 177,000 likes overnight. They were there for like 5 years, commenting, sharing, engaging, caring. Retention and acquisition. So we were talking about that too. So somebody comments to you, oh my God, you're my favorite artist in the world, I love your red painting, can you do 20 more? You have to answer that. You have to answer, I love this. You have to answer everything, and no, don't just say like. You have to give a personal answer. You have to really pay attention and try to answer something back. And that can get really hard, especially when you're an artist. On Heart Party, I will get letters from people, I don't understand how this is even happening. They are intense, they're personal, they're going through crazy hard stuff, like the death of a child. Right? Like they're saying, I'm painting to get through the death of a child. And you're like,
You can't like that.
well, no, you do have to answer. The thing is like people will, and I've heard this from other artists, they'll say to you, your painting got me through this terrible accident. Your painting got me. It is amazing how art will impact people. Sometimes as artists, we don't realize how deep it goes for the viewer. And that's one of the surprising things that you'll see. So, and sometimes people will allude to stuff that's really big, but they'll hint at it. So you really have to read and process and listen and answer back, again, like you're in a conversation.
But you can't like something like they say, I'm
No,
hurting,
don't like,
it.
I just broke my leg, don't like that.
Yeah.
What you always can say is, I wish there was an unlike button, I'm so sorry you broke your leg.
Yes.
Never like bad news.
Right.
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 people won't take it personally, and then the 10th person will be like, oh my God, I posted out that I was in an accident, and 55 people liked it, what's wrong with them? And then we got to have that social media discussion. If they're not liking it, they're showing support. Because for half of the country, liking is a show of support, and for half, it's a show of approval. So, just comment. Comments are more valuable to Facebook. Shares are the most valuable to Facebook, and likes are the least valuable, but you want them. So when Facebook is deciding what to show people, a lot of shares is a big deal. A lot of comments is a big deal because it says this post is sticky. This means something to people, so show it to more and more and more people.
So comments.
Is there a tricky way to get Facebook? I noticed that some people are able to constantly get older posts pushed back up again in feeds.
That's what that is. So like say I had a post, I had this happen all the time. You are forever, like people can find the post, they're going to comment on it. So I've had posts from like 2 months ago come back up. That somebody came and commented on it, and it went back up into the feed. Facebook went, oh, this very popular post is getting traction again. Put it back up and see how it does. It's just the bot is doing it. Now you can. There's a thing in the internet we call white hat or black hat, which is how you play the game. White hat is obviously I'm a good guy and I play by the rules, and black hat is I figure out what the rules are and I bend them to my own needs. I personally tend to be mostly white hat, but one of the things that you can do is if you have something that's very important, you can get all your friends and family to come and like, comment, post, share to alter its metric. And if it's urgent, do that. Promoting a post. Don't do it. Don't spend your advertising dollars on Facebook. Don't do it. It's a waste. Spend all your time developing organic reach. It's the only reach that's real. even if you do targeted ads, I didn't know this initially when I started Facebook, and they will drop you in another country. Like I have a lot of followers in India now, which turned out to be great for me because they're very into the message of love and art, so that worked out. But in general, would not, right? Sometimes you can give them like $1 on your own fan page, on your art page, if you have a lot of followers and you know it got there. I just wouldn't give them any money. They are not running their ads effectively. Sometimes I'll have an ad that if I pay for it, it will get less reach than if I just left the thing alone and posted it at 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to a lot of other people and they're having the same experience. So my thing is like, don't
bother.
Yeah, it's just,
Not worth
it is just absolutely not worth it. It's a complete waste of your life and your money. And oh, on your own personal page will be like $6 to dump. It's like, do you need to make Mark Zuckerberg any richer? I feel like he's good, right? By the way, just so you know, everyone here is worth about $8 to Facebook in value. When businesses calculate the value of advertising with Facebook, they calculate by our eyeballs, right? And we're all worth about $8. Now that's not actually true. If you talk to anyone on social media, they'll say no, because Facebook's eyeballs are the laziest eyeballs on earth. They're the hardest to engage. It is the hardest to get your Facebook fans to a show. It is the hardest to get them to do anything. Which is back to I can't even get the grandparents to remember to like the pictures of the kids. Because it's a news feed. So Facebook content is very temporary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
You might not, I mean, you literally could miss the notice that somebody died.
That's true.
You know, if you're not checking like head counts on family members, you're like, where is everybody? Because you could miss it. It's fast, it's temporary, it is not evergreen. So while you do have all your pictures and your albums, and that's fantastic, and while I do, like I have all my videos, I love to put up videos, because have you guys noticed that videos autoplay if they're directly uploaded?
I have it.
Powerful tool. Hi, this is Marcia. I'm in my studio. I'm totally painting today. It's so exciting. Look at what I'm painting is going to automatically play on somebody before they can even click like or think about it. I'm not saying you should do it exactly like that, but you know, whatever you're doing, you can make an 8-second, 15-second video. It will automatically play. I do direct messaging sometimes now to fans. Like if something is really emotional or they need information or I'm getting a lot of questions, I just make a little video with my built-in camera. I vlog that, keep it short, post it up, it auto plays. And that's been getting a lot of new fan retention because people will share it and other people will see it and I'm like, oh, I don't know. They come over. People love video.
What's the difference between ones that autoplay and ones that don't? I guess.
If you upload it directly through Facebook's system, like from your phone or from your computer, it will autoplay if it's short. If it comes from YouTube, YouTube wants to track the likes, shares, and all those numbers that are happening with it, so it won't autoplay. It'll just have that little arrow.
Okay.
Pinterest. Who's familiar with Pinterest?
I don't know how to use it. I set up an account and
All right, we're going to really talk about Pinterest.
Good.
Pinterest is where the hockey puck is going to be in about 2 years.
That's what I
Right? Everyone's like, Facebook is over, and what's next? It's Pinterest. For artists, it's Pinterest. It is absolutely Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is fantastic. Pinterest is evergreen. Your content is forever. You put it up there. It's image communication based. Oh my God, we're artists. That's how we talk, right? It's good for photographers. It's good for people who do video because it'll post videos. It's good for bloggers. It's good for teachers. It is good for everybody in the creative field. It's so good for us. It is made for us, and it is made for shoppers. It is the 4th biggest social network on the web, growing at like this Leviathan state that is freaking everyone out. It's the first website to have 10 million users, adopters in a year. Like from the time it opened. It just, everybody went, oh, I love it. I'm blessed enough to have this software called Tailwind, which is an analytics software.
Say it again.
Tailwind.
Tailwind.
And Tailwind gives me back behind the scenes information about what's happening on my Pinterest boards. who's liking stuff, who's sharing stuff. It gives me what we call metrics. It's the numbers of what's happening. And the guy who is there now used to be the main guy at Google who decided there should be pictures in the image search. That's who this guy was. That's a big guy, the guy who figured out, we should put some pictures in the sidebar here. People like pictures on Google feed. He's now Tailwind. And he said something great. Twitter is what you're thinking about. Facebook is what you're doing. And Pinterest is what you dream and hope that you will do.
Can you say that one more time?
Twitter is what you're thinking about. Facebook's what you're doing. Pinterest is what you're dreaming about. Dreams are powerful tools. And this is where being curators and artists makes us superhuman. We have a superpower on Pinterest. It's amazing what we can do. Now, here's everything is pinnable. The whole world knows that everything is pinnable. You see those pin buttons everywhere? Pin, 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 pin? Because you can tell Pinterest your business, get a little pin button, drag and drop it onto your web page, and now everything on your web page is pinnable. And if you pin from them, it's trackable. So now you can see how many people went to your blog or went to your website and liked your image and put it in their My Favorite Artist board. And you can see who did that. It is unbelievable, the intel. You'll feel like Google. You'll just know so much. You'll be like, oh my God, this one person loves everything I do. Well, it's good to engage that person. Good to, say hey to them. So you've got Pinterest. Everything's pinnable. Yes?
But it's not pinnable from Facebook.
No. Facebook is not Pinterest friendly. Though people will drag and drop things off Facebook and put it on Pinterest, they'll just steal it. Pinterest tries to do a thing where the URL, where the history of the image stays with it, right? Well, Facebook doesn't want that in their kind of battle, and they're going to have a little war, and we're going to just let them do that and win anyways, right? Like if you notice something is really popular on Facebook and has like 20,000 likes, you can always just grab that sucker, drop it on your desktop, and pin it directly if you want to share that something, in a board, if it's important to you. And at some point they'll figure out how to monetize it, and Facebook will start pinning. Give them a minute, they will always work it out. Pinterest will be doing promoted pins soon.
Promoted pins?
Promoted pins, which means that they're going to allow you to advertise or push a pin past its organic reach into a feed. Oh, something no one knows about Pinterest, and I know, because I know Greg Peck. Pinterest prefers new content.
Prefers new content.
Right? So like, if it's a blog, one of my very important boards that gets me a lot of new followers is my kids' lunch board. I like artful lunches for kids, where they're just creative and they make them all cute, and I just love that, and I have a board about that. So I follow blogs where moms do that.
Bento
And when they do something new, bentos, oh yes, and bento boxes, they're artful lunches. If you're on Pinterest, you'll see 25 million of them, and you'll be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. That's a sandwich that looks like a bunny. So I will pin new blogs, and Pinterest will show that more to a lot of people because it's from popular blog, and it'll get out in the feed more, so it loves new content. And what you want is your artwork to be new content that is viral. Right? That people share. You want that actually. Alright, so the magic of a Pinterest board. 70% of your board should be helpful. 70% of all your curations. So in Pinterest, you have the option to make boards. Boards are collections, right? So obviously your main collection would be your gallery. Right? Because you want to have your artwork up there so your followers are looking at your artwork. But you don't want to seem like, hey, just look at my artwork. So you might also have a board of everything I love that's blue. A blue board. These are very popular. Color wheel boards are very popular. Well, no one's better at color wheel boards than artists, right? I actually didn't know that till like I was trying to talk to people about phthalo blue, and I was just pinning everything that was phthalo blue so they would understand what I was talking about with phthalo. And then I was getting all this trash and I was like, what's going on? And then I found Color Wheel. Color Wheel is one of my favorite pinners, one of my favorite boards, and that's all they do. And they have like hundreds of thousands of followers on Pinterest. Why do we care about Pinterest followers? Like, who are they? They are on more hours than any other internet user. They shop more than any other internet user. Pinterest pins with prices are 30% more likely to be clicked.
I never have understood quite how that all works.
All right, so here's how that works. So I have a, no, yeah, all right, I don't need it, it's fine. It's okay, no, it's fine. I'm not gonna all right, I'm gonna just act this out, okay. So I'm a pin, so say like, I'm from your blog, I'm a new painting, you pin me, you take a little pin button, you pin me to your board of your gallery. Now, you're gonna describe me, and we're going to remember we talked about how we title things. Pinterest also does not see images, it reads text. So you're going to describe me like I'm a blind person in a hurry.
Text.
Words that people are looking for. And if you're ever wondering what they're looking for, have you ever noticed when you put words in a search bar, it guesses?
Yes.
Yeah, guesses based on what people are most likely looking for. It's actually always telling you your keywords. So if you're like art, it starts going, maybe these 20 things, don't type it. That's a very cheap way to do research on your keywords. We don't have to do some crazy AdWords search. You can actually just start using those little search bars to go, what's hot today? So you're going to put your wonderful description, my fabulous red abstract with swirls, flowing paint, by your name, and then the name of the painting. We're going to also have a big conversation about how we title all of our pictures too. So it's up there. Now say, the minute you put it up there, it goes into all your followers' feeds. So when they log on and they get to the main page, there's a bunch of beautiful images that greet them. And they have the option to like, comment, pin, or send all of those images, right? So say this is your image and they're like, oh my God, that's the best painting I've ever seen. And it's got a price on it. If they click that image, because Pinterest is friendly to the content, it likes to take all of the data with it and where it came from, it clicks them back, because it's really melody, clicks them back to your webpage or to Etsy or to wherever you're selling your artwork from. Just always pin your artwork from wherever you're selling it from.
Okay.
You know, because they'll buy it from there. My mom is very new to Pinterest. She's an artist, and I'm helping her really get up there. And so she has very few followers. She went from 0 to 77 in a month, though, which is amazing. I'm really helping her work that. She's getting inquiries already in sales from that small group of people, because every person that you have following you, every follower they have sees your stuff.
Oh, okay.
If they repin you, everybody they have
Receives it.
right. So say you have somebody who has 1 million followers. Oh my God. Right? We want that girl to like our artwork so much. Because when she puts it out there, then all of a sudden you're like, boom, you're up like 100 people. You're like, what happened?
But it is sort of a closed universe, isn't it? Because when I click on something on Pinterest and I'm not a member of Pinterest, all it wants me to do is join. I get nothing from it.
Yeah, it's a closed universe with a tremendous number of members, though. 70 million. It's good enough. Growing by the day.
I joined it because I was using it to try to get some lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
But I have never posted anything. I don't know how to do it. I
They
don't
have, okay,
understand
so you, here again, Web 2.0, and we're going to go, when we get to YouTube, we're going to talk about this. Everything you need to know about everything is on YouTube, like literally.
Oh, yeah.
I love my husband.
I don't use the carburetor on the
Yes,
floor.
you don't even need them anymore, right? Like I'm fixing sinks and repairing dishwashers, because there is a YouTube tutorial. That guy who's explaining to me, he's calm, he's not yelling.
You can play it over and over. They don't
I can ask him as many times as I need. I pick locks, I lock myself. Kids locked me out of the bedroom, actually, it wasn't me. Because when I asked him, he was like, hit it with a hammer till it breaks. So everything you need to know is on Google, and the tutorials are good.
Oh, okay.
And we'll go over how to use Google, and actually Pinterest too. Pinterest, so people make boards. It's 60% women, 40% men now, which is changing the feed a little bit. The guys are, they try to make it family-friendly content, and bless the male pinners, they push that envelope as much as they can. You know, it's kind of like that battle. It's a little pin-up. You can always tell when you have a lot of guys in your group that's pin-up-y. You're like, oh. And cars, a lot of cars. So it's changing the feed a little bit. Boards that you should have. Your gallery. That you should absolutely, the one thing if you come away from any of this is getting on Pinterest that will change your future, because by the time you realize that you wanted to be there 2 years from now, you'll have followers and you'll be like, oh thank God I went to that lecture.
Do you ever worry about people copying the work?
Oh, I'm going to go over that. The oh my God, my stuff is everywhere. Yeah. I have some stuff for that too. Now, you're going to want your gallery. You're going to want an inspiration board. It's just, as artists, we should all have one of those.
Yes.
Pinterest is amazing for designing or ideas. Use it, love it, and other people will enjoy seeing. If you teach or you blog, you need a board about that. If you're bloggers, Pinterest is fantastic for that. So you're going to want all of your blogs have something pinned from all of your blogs up there, because that will get you tons of new readers. It's fantastic for that. That's why all the bloggers are on Pinterest. Color wheel boards. We're artists, let's use it. Do a board of other artists that you like. Because then you seem like you're really nice. And it's just all about me. There's some other artists I think are good too. But it's actually good for you because it helps you really refine and decide who you are as an artist. Pinterest is our best tool out there right now. There's no tool these artists have that is better for us than Pinterest in social media. Not for selling, not for designing, and not for even clarifying who we even are as people. And again, because Pinterest has the share thing, like my mom and I. So all the time my mom's like, I don't know what I'm painting, and I can send her pictures all day. Paint this, do this, do this. She'll be like, I need something with a swing set. And I can send her 50 pictures with the swing set in communication. Now, fans on Pinterest. Hard to get.
Hard to get?
Hard to get.
Oh. What's that?
Hard to get. Fans on Pinterest are hard to acquire. Once you have them, you have them, but they are hard to get. They are the most valuable fan. Every major company on the planet is trying to get on Pinterest and make it win because they know it, because they know their buyers. All the artists that are on it and good at it are loving it because those are buyers, they're collectors. But getting them to see you and getting them to know you.
You're talking about followers.
Followers, yeah. Followers, fans, collectors. They're really all sort of that same ball of people who are your advocates. On Pinterest, one great way to get fans and followers is have wonderful content. Beautiful, well-designed, well-curated content on your board, which is fun to do for us artists anyways. And everyone is welcome to come look at my Pinterest boards and my Facebook page and my YouTube and get ideas. That is completely fine. I've been doing my Pinterest board for a while, and it is what I like to call a camouflage board. I'm a business that looks like a person. I'm very good at that. I'm like, I'm a person. I'm not selling anything. Just a person who pins too. And that's my thing. Some companies are really about being businesses on Pinterest, and they're really forward-facing about that. Because I have a personality on YouTube that people relate to, it's more important for me to stay a person on Pinterest and not a business, so that we don't have a barrier between me and them. So you just have to decide as an artist, am I a business or am I a person? And then you just work with your board from there. So 70% of your content helpful, 30% about what you do. And this is more important than anywhere else in the universe. All comments on Pinterest should be responded to. You don't get them very often. It's a big deal on Pinterest to get a comment. It's a new option. You always want to respond to it, engage it, say something quickly back. You can comment. And this is a great way to get somebody important to follow you. So say Color Wheel is a very important pinner on Pinterest. Right? They're followed by hundreds of thousands of people, and it's a beautiful, their whole boards are about color. That's all it's about. It's not even Pantone. I think it's a mother-daughter team that started this. So say they've got a pin, you follow them, right? You see a pin that really relates to what you're doing. Like all of your artwork is about yellow. This whole year's body work is about yellow, and they have pins about yellow. What you can do is like their pin, comment on their pin, something personal about it, not promoting yourself, just something like, this is my favorite thing about yellow I've seen all year, and send it. Do that on occasion, not in a spammy way, and eventually they'll notice you and they'll follow you back. And when they follow you back, if they pin anything of yours, now you're in their million-person feed. So it's literally like that. It's like making a new friend at a dinner party. It's that same set of skills. You're going to make a new friend at a dinner party. That's a really beautiful topic. I love that. Never say anything you don't mean. That's my favorite color, orange, in the world. And it's beautiful on her, and it's real. Same thing on social media. Don't say it if you don't mean it, it'll translate. Right? If and that's probably true in person too. If you love a top, say you love a top, but don't say it if you're hating it. Same thing is true on social media. Look for something you truly, honestly like. The other thing that Pinterest is fantastic for is content that you can put on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram and anywhere else. You have to have content. It's an endless resource of it. People are like, well, I was looking for great stuff. So as an artist, I like inspirational quotes on my Facebook page. I find them all on Pinterest. I follow boards of 10,000 inspirational quotes that somebody's already put together. I collect my favorites. I like ones that have images and words, only images and words. And I tend not to go negative with my inspirational quotes. It's my thing. Sometimes negative and funny is real popular, so it's just you got to go by, your style and your way. And I have my board together, and that's where I get those from. So when I'm sharing something with the VAA and it makes it up on the feed, a lot of times I found that on Pinterest. Pinterest is great for that. Tutorials. Pinterest is fantastic for tutorials. There are people who've been putting tutorial boards together for years. So you feel like, oh my God, I gotta paint fur. Search it. How to paint fur on Pinterest. You'll be like, how could there be this much out there to paint fur? Collected in one space. But it's there. Millions of pins about how to paint fur, and then you just find your favorite one. It's amazing what you can find. So you want everything to filter through there. You want to find your advocates. If you notice someone is pinning your stuff a lot, follow them.
What is a lot?
More than twice?
More than twice. But I mean, like,
More than once?
Sometimes they'll post everything. I have fans that post literally everything I have. Like everything, they just repost it. Well, I'm gonna follow them because I'm paying attention to what's important to them, and I'm not gonna know what's important to them unless I'm following them. True, kind of on Facebook too. You want to be aware of the people who are passionate about you, what they're passionate about. Even if it's in a non-intrusive way, you just want to know, right? Like if all of your collectors suddenly go, oh no, I'm only about gray and pink, it's good to know that early. So you're not painting green and red, right? I mean, because that's there's incredible intel for artists when you see what your fans care about. It helps you make good artistic decisions where you're not guessing in a black hole about like, what does anybody even want that I'm doing? Because you'll see right away. Like, I'll tell you what, talk about an ego thing. Put a painting up and you hear crickets, it may not have worked. Everybody loves it. I've had stuff where I'm like, I don't get it. And they're like, oh, I love it. And I'm like, wow. But I have to get realistic and look at it and go, what about this painting worked? Because clearly something did. And I need to understand what that is so that I am sure that that's in my artwork. Or if something does not work, you got to understand what that is. I did this quail painting. I love quail, and my grandmother loved quail, and we read Havasu, and I love quail. And I thought, oh, it's great, I'm just quail painting. And oh my God, nobody cared. Only my son cared, it's on his wall. But I mean, I didn't spend 20 canvases working on these quail when nobody was really feeling the quail. You know, because that can happen to us as artists. We can get really drilled down on a hole, and then we're sitting there with a bunch of canvases going, oh my God, what was I doing? I mean, you want to paint to your truth, and you want to be authentic, but you also got to be realistic. If you're not hoarding the canvases, you're painting for your fans, and the best way to know what their understanding about you is to see what they're engaging with. It's incredible intel.
Can you explain what crickets are?
Okay.
It's a new phrase.
It's a new phrase. So what I mean by crickets is, and when you start really doing social media, you'll feel this. You'll put something out there,
Nothing happens.
and nothing happens. It's just silent. It's just nothing.
So still, all you hear is crickets.
So still, all you hear is crickets. There's just nothing. Have you ever been out in the country? You hear crickets
It's the
because
sound of silence.
it's the sound of silence would be another way. I have weird analogies. It's my thing. I get grief from my fans all the time about my strange analogies. Yes.
This has to do with time allocation. And I'm sure you'll cover it, but
Yeah.
right around now, I am completely overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Trying to figure out either I paint or I become a social.
No, I do both. Right. Just so you know about time.
And I've already done it.
I run my entire social media for myself, for my heart party, for my fine art, and for my video game company. And I run those 3 businesses. And if you guys know me, you know how prolific I am on the artwork. Social media, once you make a decision about what's important to you, should be done in short order. You should consistently put stuff up. That's why I'm always like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? I'm gonna post on Pinterest on Monday morning at 10 a.m. This is true for all of you. You're gonna post on Pinterest at least Monday morning, 10 a.m. That's just your biggest repent time. Now, if you find your people are just not on Pinterest, you can always change it, but that's what Tailwind says. We pay them a lot of money to tell me what's happening on Pinterest. It's Monday morning, 10 a.m. You know, Facebook, I mostly Monday and Tuesday, 8 to 9. You know, and I'm not there for the whole hour painting. I'm like, I'm up. If somebody, so I have my painting lessons on YouTube. If somebody sends me their painting, I'm gonna repin it. Like, it's like putting it up on the refrigerator at home for the kids. I'm like, this is great. They did a painting and they shared it, and that is great and awesome. Yay. Because it is, right? But that's not going to take me, maybe when I have millions and millions of followers, and then you got to outsource. You'll know exactly when you got to hire somebody else and oversee what they're doing. But it's going to take your heart and soul to build it up to that place anyways. And by then you'll understand how you engage with your fans enough to be able to tell somebody else how to do it. But we're all sort of fledgling and new and building up right now, so it's really got to be us. May we all have the problem where we have so many followers, we have to outsource.
So you have 3 different businesses. Do you pin each one to a different pin? Are they all under the same?
Now, on mine, because I'm a person, I'm a business that looks like a person, I actually have my video game very quietly put there.
Because I've been writing ebooks with using my photography for teachers.
Yeah.
And I have pinned, but they said you need to have at least 100 things pinned for people to start noticing. That's what they said. So I just thought, well, maybe if I start putting my photography on there,
I've seen really tiny boards with like I love Oprah, but
oh well.
she's not that good on Pinterest yet. She has a lot of followers though, just for the fact that she's Oprah.
Yeah. But I can put my photography
you can
on
have
the same.
5 pins on a board, and if you have fans following you just in general, they're going to see everything you pin there anyways.
Okay, right.
Or if you have something like, you know, a small collection. I have a Save My Pink bathroom board because there's this movement, Save My Pink retro bathroom, and I just have a few pins on there. It's not that many. It's like 20. It has a lot of followers. It's just, there wasn't that much to say about that. I found everything there was to say about it and put it in a board for inspiration for myself, and it just happened to be a popular topic. So you don't have to have a million pins to get followers. It's not.
What are your businesses?
So I have Heart Party, which is a YouTube channel, and it is a beginner's how to paint channel. It's It's not for artists that already speak art. It's for, again, it's for the kids whose art teacher said something really stupid. And they just quit. But you know, you've seen it. They just quit being creative because they got hurt and they just stopped. Then I have my fine art, which I do with the VAA and building back up. So that's Cinnamon Cooney, that's me. And then I make video games with my husband. So
it's all under one pin.
On the Pinterest, I just put it all under one.
Okay.
You know.
Is that right?
All of our products are very brand aligned. It was a very specific choice we made, so they're all under largely the same heading. So we own everything, you know, all of our video games, the intellectual property.
I wouldn't put boards that were really polar different ideas. Like that's about curation. You know how when someone puts together an art show, they want to put pieces together that somehow work together. Yeah. You know, don't put cute puppies next to your, like, you know, my favorite horror movies. You're like, because people are gonna be like, wait, are you cute puppies or are you horror movies? I don't know.
Also, if your business is like totally different, like you were saying, from your art, then it would be best to do.
Yeah, if you have something like it's just so unrelated, you can definitely make two different boards for them.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you definitely can if they're just completely unrelated.
If you have different types of markets you're marketing to, should you make them separate boards?
In what way are they different?
Well, say one's religious art and one's not.
Actually,
and one's painting and one's sculpture.
Those can still go together.
Okay, but if you're really not marketing to you're marketing to two different.
So what would happen in Pinterest boards? So say someone's looking for religious art, and their search is going to literally be religious paintings.
Right.
And you may pull up in that, and what they may choose to do is just, as long as your other art isn't somehow offensive to the first art.
Okay, but you would do two different boards?
I would do two different boards. Yeah, separate up your boards. That's where you want to get good at curation.
Okay.
People with really successful boards do crazy things like, it's my purple board.
You have one account, you have different boards. That may be not clear.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have one account,
as many as
an infinite number of boards.
Okay.
Okay.
So like how many boards do you have?
I had to look at that. I don't know, like 30?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But I also design and stuff there. Like I'm on Pinterest the same way everyone else is on Pinterest. It's fun. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just want a board of fairies. Because I like fairies. So put one together. Because I like them.
How many hours a week are you spending on your computer?
Me?
See, we're not married
This
to
is
him.
not you. Me, I'm in the every morning I commit to getting on my computer and doing work. But I have a video game company I've got to deal with, and I have a couple other things, so my workload is really heavy. You guys aren't social media managers. A social media manager, a real one, does this all day. Like the social media manager at Coca-Cola, they don't sleep. That's all they're doing. They're having I feel bad for them. I like been to these lectures where they talk about what that daily schedule is. And even with Hootsuite, which is a scheduling tool where you could schedule content to go out to different things, you're still on there all day. It's all day. Okay, but you don't need to do that as an artist. Like you might go like, I'm gonna do Pinterest and Facebook, but I don't really care about Twitter. You know, my collectors are not on Twitter. If your collectors are not on Twitter, you don't need to be on Twitter. If your collectors are not on Instagram, you don't need to be on Instagram. Right? But for the buying public, for sure they're on Pinterest and they're probably on Facebook. If you do edgy work and you have young collectors, if you do what? Edgy work and you have young collectors, you may really want to be on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah?
This is a problem, one of the reasons I don't use, or I underuse Facebook tremendously, that's an understatement, is because being from another country, I started getting so many followers, or whatever you call friends, friends who are of no interest to me. And so so when you tell me now...
Oh, all your friends are of interest to you.
No, they're really not.
No, they really are, actually. No, I mean like you as a person, they may not be, but you gotta just like let that go because the numbers matter. Did you know in the systems, in all of the systems of all of the feeds, negative comments are as positive comments.
Yep. It's just comments.
Dislikes matter as much as likes. The system doesn't care. It just says, oh, people thinking about you. They're talking about you.
It's a counter. It's just a counter. It's 1, 0.
Yeah, it is. It's just a counter. So every warm body that might possibly like and share promotes you, whether they mean to or not. So like, if you got a bunch of people who are like, okay, Beth Moda, does anyone know who she is?
Who?
Oh, it's Beth Moda. She is one of the biggest personalities on YouTube. Oh my God, I'm so afraid for my daughter. I just looked at this, I'm like, I can put my kid on YouTube. She can have 7 million followers if all she's got to do is just run around the room and go, this is my pillow. I mean, this girl started with a bunch of her cheerleader friends on YouTube at about age 12. Okay? They've been doing inappropriate content. It's just dumb girl stuff like, we're making a lamb bracelet, or this is how I put on my mascara, and this is what I'm wearing to school. Really silly stuff. She has 7.5 million followers, subscribers. She just got a perfume deal. She has a clothing line. She probably actually is making money from her YouTube channel on advertising. She has endorsement deals. YouTube runs her in the commercials, and she was a Teen Choice Award winner.
Do they have those for older women?
Yes. Yes. They are right here.
Let's talk about it.
It's Nathan.
Like,
These are my thongs. But they're flip-flops.
No, they were on Oprah. I'm trying to remember their names. There was 3 women, and they did some spin on the Golden Girls. They would just get on there and talk on YouTube about life, and they had millions of followers. It was really good. So
They've been on.
all followers count. They may not all be created equal, and you may be like going, oh my God, I don't want to have to say anything here, but they're just all created equul. As long as they're not stalkers.
But those were people mainly on YouTube.
Well, no, but there's people like that
Pinterest,
on. No, there's Pinterest, yeah.
They have the videos and.
You can put videos on Pinterest.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
so if you have following on that, it's the same as
Pinterest-
YouTube, like basically.
Well, in that the Pinterest followers, I think, are your most valuable followers.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, say we're going to a gallery. Galleries are really behind the times. Back in my previous life, when I was a previous artist and I went to New York Expo and I showed and I did all that, I knew a lot of gallery owners.
Are behind the times.
Right, and so I kind of know behind the scenes of what their life is really like. They really, in general, are just trying to pay the light bill. I mean, they may start out like, I love art, but by the end of the day, they're just like, oh my God, what is going to sell? And they're just in a panic to pay the light bill. And they're trying to balance out curating artwork that they're passionate about and still selling enough to stay open. It's a rough business. If you come into them saying, I am so-and-so, and I come with this many people.
Right.
It doesn't really matter what you're doing, does it? You know? Now, publishers right now in writing are already telling authors, if you don't already have followers, we don't want you.
Yeah.
If your social media isn't together, the galleries haven't figured this out yet because they're always really slow and they wait till it comes out in Art Business News to decide it's true. But once it's in Art Business News, believe you me, they're going to start asking you, what's your Facebook following? Because they're going to be able to choose between an artist that has 100,000 Facebook followers in their metric area, in their metro, right? Like, if you have 100,000 followers in Houston, and you're painting fairly decently, and there's another artist who's maybe even painting better for whatever that gallery's selling, but they have no followers, who's going to pay my light bill?
Yeah, exactly.
So you can walk in there very practically being like, this is my YouTube following. Agnes, well, I'll get to that on YouTube. So followers are valuable, all right? Every business, like you're valuable, you have a value dollar, your followers are valuable, they are priceless. Protect them, guard them. Likers, followers, commenters, they are worth their weight in gold. Because eventually, when you want to have a show that books and sells, or you want to know that you've got buyers into the future, this is the way that you can create that. And there is somebody for everybody. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Right? This is what always blows my mind about social media. There is somebody for everybody. There'll be somebody doing something, I'm like, what are they? I don't even understand what it is. And they'll have a ton of followers who love them. Won't like me at all. But the people who love him, and the people who love me, I can't even send them over to him. Like when they're like, oh, I got to paint a mountain. I'm like, oh, go see Kevin. They won't go. They're like, no, you make a mountain tutorial. I'm slow. So there's now analytics, and you can Google it. For Pinterest, you can find out what you're pinning is getting shared and how it's getting shared. Everything that you do in social media has either a paid service for analytics or a free one. I'd look for the free ones. And just the more you understand what's happening on your the social media feeds that you're using, the more you'll be able to make those work. And it's for time management. You don't have to be great everywhere. You don't have to be brilliant everywhere to win. You just have to be brilliant where you enjoy being brilliant. Like my mom hates Facebook. She loves Pinterest, right? Makes her happy to be there. So that's where she's putting her effort, and that's where she's building a following, and that is just fine. That, because she teaches as well, she teaches fine art to artists. And that's how she's going to build that following, is by putting her content out there. So the next thing is do you YouTube?
One more question.
Yes.
How do you get to the analytics? How do you sign up for the analytics?
Just put in your search bar Pinterest analytics, and it'll give you a link that takes you right there.
Google will teach you everything.
Yeah, Google and YouTube and Pinterest will. And you can even, like, if you want more social media marketing tips, go in Pinterest and go social media marketing, and millions of pins will show up with infographics with all these incredible facts. And if you click the infographics, it'll take you to an article. You don't need to hire anybody for anything, ever.
I thought on Pinterest, now, they used to email you every time your pins got.
Yeah.
But now, if you go up in the corner, you'll see everybody, all the actions, isn't that enough?
Well, that can be enough for something like myself where I have a lot going on and I'm trying to really build up fan bases. I need to know who is, like, I might not realize who's pinning me, or I might not know that a pin, I just pinned a friend of mine's weird little mermaid drawing from Etsy with a baby. Thing's been repinned 250 times. And we had 0 pins when I pinned it.
So it's after what's coming.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have known that if the thing hadn't said, by the way, did you notice this thing is going crazy? It's like, so I had to write them and like, dude, did you know you're doing really well? You know? Because I didn't.
At some point, maybe when you get further down the line and you're talking about websites, online identity, your online identity. Because all of us ideally would want to be who we are online, because that's what we sell under and that's our name.
Yeah, and you should be yourself.
But there's a whole lot of stuff there that I've discovered.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. And actually we have like Mr. Brand Manager over here, so we may hit him. Okay. All right. YouTube. Do YouTube. Yes, you should. YouTube's owned by Google. YouTube is owned by Google. Second largest search engine in the world is owned by the first largest search engine in the world. Go figure. Oh, guess what? Google likes to give Google Plus and Blogger priority in the Google search. Which means if you're blogging on Blogger and you got a video on YouTube and you match somebody's search criteria, even if there's a bunch of search results, as long as there's not a video with more importance, you're going to be on Google page 1 anyways. You can win before you ever even played.
I'm like clueless.
Yeah, I'm clueless. Isn't that, when I found that out, I was like, when I found out Google reads, right, and YouTube reads, and that Google owns YouTube, and I started looking at how those systems work together, I was like, oh my God, I could totally win. Like, and not have to be here for 5 years. I mean, it is a marathon, but if you're smart about understanding how it's done and what happens, you win. Google's owned by YouTube. Loves them. Puts a video on page 1. Have you ever noticed that? There's a video on every search. If there's a video, you type in something in Google and it pulls up a video. Right? That's fantastic for me, beginner art lesson. I don't have to go to a school that's open for 20 years to crush a school that was open for 20 years. And that is really what it is. So how does this apply to you? Well, this applies to you in the way it applied to Agnes Cecile. If you haven't noticed her on This Is Colossal, go watch her time lapse. Because it has been watched and shared. And it's like she has hundreds of thousands of followers. She has, I think, 1 million views on one of her time lapses.
And what's her last name?
Agnes Cecile.
How do you spell it?
Cecile. Cecile. And if I'm wrong, Google will autocorrect it because it knows who she is, because she's such a popular search. So she was just a good watercolorist. We all know really good watercolorists that do figurative watercolors, don't we? They're good, and you just think every time you see, oh, it's so pretty, it's wonderful. And they're out there at the craft fair trying to sell. Agnes isn't. Agnes is sold out. You can't get an original Agnes. Every gallery is begging to hang her. Because everybody knows she is. She's so popular. And she got popular because she took her little camera, because she had a little GoPro. But you also have cameras in your computers. You have a lot of ways of doing this. And she just filmed her process. Put it on time-lapse, which means she sped it up, so it was like 8 times as fast, so it was shorter. Put a good thumbnail up so we could all see what it was about. And then it just went viral. Right? Now, my friend Mark Criley, the creator of Naruto, has 2 million subscribers on YouTube. He's an artist with as many subscribers as those video game kids on YouTube. Doing his little tutorials. He's set. His whole industry collapsed around him. He's fine. He doesn't care. He's gonna be on the New York bestsellers list on his little books to the end of time. Because Google is evergreen. It never goes away. My mom, years and years ago, did a little how to stretch a canvas video with some friends of hers when she thought she wanted to do some DVD tutorials for sale at art stores. And that didn't really go anywhere. So her friend just put that up on YouTube because they said, what harm could it do? About 5 years ago. What harm could it do? 500,000 views. 500,000 views.
So does that pay her?
It could.
She could monetize
Google
it.
does monetize views. Google has a partner program for as long as you don't use copyrighted materials, that's music or images that don't belong to you.
Right.
They'll pay you per view, per click on the ad. It comes out to about, for new people, $2 every 1,000 views, and for fairly good channels, $4 to $10 every 1,000 views. Now you'll notice I won't advertise on my Heart Party channel. Does anybody guess why? Because my followers are valuable. I'm not making money from it, Globe. Right? For me, that's not where I want to monetize, right? Anyone that follows me, they have value. I don't want to like kill their time on ads and buying other products and doing stuff with them. I want them to watch what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you've got to decide, like I'm hoping eventually to get like a paint contract with a paint company or Fredericks, because a lot of artists in my market space do that. You know, so that's where I want my monetization to come from, not from my fans through ads. But like for Agnes, she does run ads. It's probably making her about 10 grand a month just passively, right? Plus the fact that she's completely sold out. She cannot paint to keep up with it. Leilani Joy, I talked about her earlier. Right out of art school, started a YouTube channel. She cannot keep up with her orders. She cannot do it. The speed painters, the real life speed painters where they paint something in 4 minutes, they were all made by YouTube. That whole business was driven by YouTube. If you can put content up on YouTube that's quality, do it. Because it'll go chugging along, advertising for you until the end of time. Problem is, 100 hours of YouTube is uploaded every minute by people. It's a lot of, knowing you can watch it, right? So you have to get found, and that is always in the titling. I just shared the most amazing time lapse of a mom who takes her child's doodles and turns them into beautiful paintings. It's incredible. It should have 1 million views, and it does not because she titled it stupid. She was like, painting with my toddler. Well, most people logging on today are not searching for painting with my toddler. They're not looking. They're just not looking for
I
that.
heard of her, but I don't know how I heard of her.
Well,
Somebody may have posted it
this
on
is Colossal
my,
finally picked
somebody
up
may have
some
posted it on my Facebook page.
Well, and she eventually got picked up by This is Colossal, which is that big blog, and they're what we call, advocate, and they're brand power, and you want that. But the thing is that even her other stuff, like, so she's got one that's about 200,000 views, but the others aren't because she still hasn't fixed her titling. Just the thing that got blocked about is doing well. Right? It didn't even necessarily drip over into the rest of her stuff. titling is a big deal, right? Title it what it is. Take your ego out of it. Just title it exactly what it is. It is what it is. If it is a beginner painting lesson, that is the most important information before you get the rest of it. What is the beginning painting lesson of? What's the beginning painting lesson of? Waves. Because what somebody's likely, if they're just sitting down at their computer going, I want to learn how to paint a wave, they're going to go, I'm a beginner, painting lesson, wave. That's all they're going to look for. If they want to see a speed paint of an artist, then speed paint, time lapse, those are keywords you need in there. And then what is it of? Abstract speed paints do very well on YouTube. If you go home and search abstract speed paint, stuff is going to pull up. You've got a filter bar. You can say, show me what has the most view counts. You can find stuff over 1 million view counts. Imagine being able to go into a gallery and saying 1 million people looked at what you did. You're not even defensive, are you? You're just in there like, 1 million people looked at what I did. You just have to decide what you want to do about that. When I was out with my mom and I used to go with her, and this massive publisher was coming in this gallery from Britain, and everybody was trying to get their attention, trying to get them to notice them. I was like, she sold $1 million worth of merchandise last year. She had a contract by that afternoon. Because that's all they cared about. They didn't even ask what she painted. It did happen to match, but they didn't even care. Yeah.
How important is it to put in that how-to somewhere?
Well,
or do you just want the keywords about what
how-to is a big keyword if you're doing how-to. Or
the
tutorial or lesson. Now YouTube, so YouTube has this thing. You've got your title. That's your most important little search response. That's what the bot looks for first. That mindless machine looks at the title. Then it reads the first couple lines of your description.
Oh, the description, yeah.
Yes, that's the other place. It's tough not to be spammy. You got to find that. Spammy means like saying the same sort of advertising thing again and again and again. So you want to say the same things, like synonyms for the same thing as much as you can in the beginning. And then it's got tags.
Yeah,
right?
That's important.
So you get your little tags down there, and you put all your little tags in, and that's how Google finds everything. So if somebody is innocently on Google, and they're like, God, I know I need a red abstract painting, right? And they put in abstract painting, like awesome, because people will do weird words like that. Abstract painting awesome, and you happen to realize that in your search engine optimization, you need that word. And a bunch of stuff will point up from Fine Art America. We know that they sort of own their space, right? And all those little different things. But then Google will say, oh, no, I got this video. Abstract painting red, awesome. Suddenly Fine Art America's like, what?
Could you go back then? You're saying that there's three spaces that we need to pay attention to. The first one is
your
the
title.
description.
Yeah, title, description,
Description is different than title?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one's the description, and you said call it what exactly what it is.
Yeah, call it what it is.
Then the title.
Call it what it is. Always. Include your name, because eventually somebody's going to look for your name.
Yeah.
They probably will not be looking for the title of your painting set.
Right.
I think Starry Night is about the only painting anyone looks for by title on the internet.
And what about the tags then?
Tags are the same thing. Tags will be like tags that will help prompt you. It'll be like tips, tricks, tutorial, lesson, how to, or if you're doing like an online painting, abstract, the medium it's in, canvas. It's just these like descriptor tags that somebody might possibly put in the Google search bar or the YouTube search bar to find something. Now, I've been like, don't promote, don't promote, don't promote, don't promote. On YouTube, promote. YouTube, love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. They have the most return on your money. If you have to promote something and you need people to look at it, YouTube's a great place to do it. You can promote for $1 a day. You can say, I have a $10 total budget. Right? And while you're promoting, it helps push you up the feed so more people can see you. They put you in the ads and the video bars. You get a lot of places. So even though there's $100, 100 hours a minute put up on YouTube, between promotion and good titling, you can stand there next to somebody like with 1 million views. Tim Gagnon, fabulous oil and acrylic artist, does these beautiful sort of sky landscapes, goes to Art Expo, sells out. sells out at Art Expo because he's on YouTube. I can't even imagine what that was like. The rest of us at Art Expo were like, how many sales do you have? I don't know how many sales do you have. I paid 20 grand to be here. Oh my God. And he's not even sweating it. He's sold out. He was like, before he went to Art Expo in New York, which is a big art show. Okay, good. So before he even went there, he was like, hey, I'm going to Art Expo. Who needs tickets? He was getting like thousands of responses on his Facebook and on his YouTube. He pre-showed all the artwork he was going to be showing at Art Expo. So galleries, everybody was just lined up. He just used this whole machine, right? And he like, I blogged about him because bless him, he's got a beautiful studio in the sky. I mean, it's like in some mountain scene with no kids screaming. Yeah, no kids screaming. God, loved him. That's pretty much all the teachers on YouTube. They're a bunch of really good-looking men with various accents and beautiful studios with no disturbances.
Right. What's his name again?
But when you're
Tim Gagnon, Gagnnon.
But when you're saying promote, you mean pay them.
Yeah.
Or
go ahead, pay them because you can really control your budget. AdWords. Right, will let you control your budget. So you can put a cap, you can put a daily spending limit, you can put an overall spending limit. It bills you every 30 days or $200. And they actually give you return. They go pay-per-click is the big social media thing that they like to talk about. You actually get a pay-per-click from YouTube. They are not jerks yet. I love that.
That's the thing that puts the 30 or 15-second video advertisement
Yeah.
before your video show.
Yeah, I can advertise the same way Budweiser does. And they're only going to show it to people who are looking for how-to videos anyways. They're not showing it to kids who are looking for, skateboard accidents. So the negative of YouTube is so you're out there and you're on there, people might say crummy stuff. It's YouTube. It's anonymous. People have no filter. You gotta ignore it. You either don't comment on it or say something funny that blows it off. Because all likes, up or down on those thumbs, that's good for you. So the YouTube bot, it just means people are watching you.
It's eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, all comments, it doesn't go they liked it or disliked it. They just went, they're talking about it. More of that. They're talking. So you really just gotta get in a place, you're like, I'm not, not everybody loves peaches. I may be a can of peaches, but not everybody loves peaches, so fine. At first when I would get thumbs down, I'd be like, what? What did I do? And then I realized, not everyone is going to be like treated with drips. They're going to be like, I hate drips. Had a terrible day. I had one artist get on there and go on a total rant on me, and then all my fans jumped on them, and then they pulled the rant down. I didn't even get involved. Because it didn't even have anything to do with me. Like, I'm sorry I had a bad day. And
somebody reported them and they just pulled it rather than...
No, they didn't even get reported. He didn't break any YouTube rules. There really are very few YouTube rules. It's just he said something to me. And when you have fans and followers, they will protect you. And they will defend you. And they will not let people... I can't post my fine art sometimes in a Heart Party. Like that horse I have falling to the sky. That upset people. So some people were like, oh my God, why is that horse dying? And other people were like, she's an artist, let her paint. It was like, it turned into this whole thing. And I was like, oh, no more of the crazy fine art on the main page. Okay. Because you just don't want to stress people out and put them adversarial to each other. It is, if you want to have books and you want to have stuff and you want to get stuff out there, YouTube is just that undersung hero for artists. And if you have the ability to get a camera, my mom is the queen of the camera over her hands. So there's 2 YouTube stars, personalities, where we come out and we're goofy and we do stuff, right? But there's another YouTube star and they're big and they do well and they have books and they have deals, which is just hands. Just hands. So you don't have to be on the camera if you don't feel like it. You can just film your process. And that's not an expensive, it's not a heavy threshold to get in. There's great easy editing software out there. YouTube has a bunch of tools out there. You can even subtitle. Oh my God, if you're multilingual, use it. If you're blessed enough to be multilingual, use it. Because I'm in 250 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking on YouTube for photographers.
Yeah.
things. So, and I've already seen one of these. That's the third one down. It already hit my Facebook.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's a big machine, and if you can use it, use it. If you can, do it. You can also like vlog. If you have personality, and you can just talk about what's happening in your life in a funny, chipper way, like you can be an art show, here I am in an art show doing this, and these are my collectors. There's a whole bunch of people that just watch that. My daughter watches this guy Stampy Cat, and all he does is play Minecraft and talk. Hours of it. And she's so, I'm now having to do a tutorial about how to paint Stampy Cat for my daughter. Because she's just like, you have to paint it. It's such, I love it so much.
You don't have to pay to have a channel though, do you? I mean, that's...
No, YouTube just wants your content.
Yeah.
By the way, there are more people watching YouTube now than watching TV, and TV's all freaked out because there's just all these people that log on. Oh yes, like every day to YouTube more and more. A lot of people just come home and they put on a channel that they like and they just watch it because there's YouTube channel partners now. So like I have this thing where periodically I get approached by channel partners and they want me to go be part of their programming, and they'll put me out on websites and all these different things. And they pay me more money per ad, and they match ads that go with me. And so that's something you can think about. If you have fans, that's money in your pocket. That's money. It's money to galleries, it's money to paint companies, it's money to yourself. It is. They are valuable, precious commodities. And you can turn that into so many things. And that's what artists need, right? Like it's a fair playing field. Like I'm not necessarily the 20-year-old hot guy coming out of art school doing the most radical thing anyone's ever seen. I'm going to end up in all the museums. It's not necessarily my journey, right? But I can play in that same place, in that same field. I can do as well. I can thrive because of these things. It's just, it makes it fair. All right. Everything you need to know is in YouTube. Literally. Everything, if you go on YouTube, and I swear it's like a magic oracle, just ask it something.
Yeah.
I just even type in how I feel about something, like pink thing breaking and spraying red water, and it'll give me like return on it.
And if there isn't a tutorial on it, you should make one
Yes.
for whatever it is, because you'll have 1 million views in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a tutorial. Yeah, it's got to be useful, entertaining content. That's the thing. Thumbnails. If you're going to do a YouTube video, do not let YouTube pick your thumbnail. No one will watch your video. Make a custom thumbnail. There's a tutorial on how to do it on YouTube. Do it. Brand your page. Definitely have your, you want your profile pic, you want your header, you want every single social media thing you have to be branded to you and look like you. Whatever you're doing, it needs to look like you.
And you don't mean me, like right here. It doesn't have to look like me.
Well, we'll see.
What
What is your brand? So we can talk about that afterwards a little bit, but that's sort of just defining what it is that is you. Coca-Cola is red and white and Santa Claus and polar bear sliding down a hill and everyone enjoying a Coke, right?
Okay. So mine is open the box.
Well, Karen, Joe is, she could use either herself or Joe as her profile pic, right? And her artwork in the header, she has that option, right? And like Joe is something that could pick up a funny little following on YouTube. He just could, because he's cool and he's edgy and it's fun. So you have something to offer. I guess that's the thing to realize, is that you create stuff. You are a super being in the world. You have something to offer. People want to know what you're doing. So Google Plus. Most of you probably do not hear about Google Plus, except that I now have like, I don't know, 1,000 people following me on Google Plus. What's nice about that is that every time I release a video, it notifies them in email directly that I did something new. And it puts it in their feed.
Social media. So Google Plus is a social media hangout. It's kind of like Facebook. It's where friends can share their feed. They can share things. Google. Someone up here asked what Google Plus was. So it's a more evergreen way of staying in contact with your friends. It's a more because it's integrated with Google's other tools, like their online documents, their business toolkits, their chat programs. They've done a good job of making all of these web ready, so all of them run in a web browser, Chrome. So it's just their ecosystem, and it's how people it's their version of Facebook.
But for the fact that you're in their inbox, imagine that, like if you have a following and you can tell them I'm in a show, it's all in their email box.
Yeah.
So nice. Or just anything that you're doing, you've got a new blog, you've got anything. If you've got YouTube users, then you have access to their email without having to even ask for it. It's just very nice. And that's just something Google sets up. And also, I don't know if you've noticed this, if I post to Google that something happened on my blog, even if my blog isn't going to show up, the Google post will show up in the Google search. Because Google also likes to give Google Plus a chance. So suddenly, I'm not spending any money, but I'm Google page 1, which is the only place I want to be. I want to be on Google page 1 about everything all the time. Because that's how people are going to find it. Do we all need a stretch for a second?
Yes.
It's like day to run, right? Okay, so YouTube's got a cool thing that he just made me remember that I'm glad I get to tell you about. Call to action on YouTube. If you do make a video, always ask people to click, comment, and subscribe. Always. Like, not in a spammy way, but I'm always like, hey, be sure if you like what you see here to like it, comment it, and subscribe. The other thing that you can do on YouTube, and you can see a tutorial on this, but it's annotations. It's in the video manager, and it means that you can create little boxes with text that do things. Like I'm going to, for this video, when I put it up on my channel, create a little box with text for the VAA channel, for its YouTube channel. So people could go there and subscribe to it. It'll drop them right in their channel. When I did the time lapse of the monarch deer, that big buck on my YouTube channel, I was promoting for the Texas Wildlife Rescue Center. So I had boxes that would let people go there to see about donating and doing stuff, and also for Jerry's Arnorama. So you can have subscribe boxes that come up. You'll notice that's new on Facebook too. The call to action box will come up if you put up a video. You can put a subscribe to my Facebook channel. So there's a bunch more tools, and this is why I gave you those links on the work page for that social media examiner. Every day there is a new tool. When you're arcing out your time that you're willing to dedicate to your social media, try to read one new thing a week if you can, or watch a video.
On social media manager.
Yeah, because it changes all the time. Every week I get in there and I'm like, what's new on Pinterest? Because there's something. Because these guys are hiring these kids out of MIT to go live in the La La Land of San Francisco where they ride around on segways and their dry cleaning is done for them for $1 million an hour to think up new stuff to make my life more click and play. Which means every week something's changing. It's competitive, it's fast moving. So if you can do that for yourself, it's fun. It's always nice to know the new rule. Google's always trying to change things so that robots can't pretend to be people, which sometimes will change the Google rules. Facebook does the same thing. So it's good just to check on whatever's new, because you might be the first one to figure out a new opportunity to win. Right? And it's always good to be the first guy on the block.
How do you find those?
So on your worksheet, you've got a bunch of links, and one of them is the Social Media Examiner. That is a whole blogging website about social media and people that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year write for it, and everything that's new. You can always just date your year. Facebook 2014, and a bunch of articles will pop up about everything that's new about Facebook 2014. So when you figure out what your venues are going to be, like Pinterest, when you're good at Pinterest, that's amazing. But it's hard to know everything about Pinterest. You don't have to know it. Some other guy does. Just read his article. Use what works for you. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know what works for you. And somebody else knows it. That's the other thing that's changed for us. We don't have to know anything because we have Google and Siri. I have seen women in a fight have a Siri standoff where the first Siri that comes back with the response wins the argument. Where they're like, Siri, what is really the best car ever in the universe? And then the first Siri response wins. I mean, it's like amazing. I'm like, we have changed how we play completely. We don't have to know anything. Google knows it for us.
Siri knows.
Siri knows it. Social Media Examiner knows everything.
Who's Siri? I love it. Who's Siri?
Who's Siri? Seriously, she knows things. And everybody's all, you know, and there's the new Google one. They all have this, and you don't have to know it. You don't have to be a genius at it. You just have to be able to search better than anybody else. Your guy at tech support, the guy you pay like $100 an hour, is just better at Google than you.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Can I do this really quickly?
Yeah.
Siri, I love you.
Oh, I love that, yeah.
I know.
Kid from MIT did that.
Yep.
Yeah. They breed them and they come out and they're
She
fast.
said,
they
"Oh,
go.
shucks" to me one day.
Yeah, it's just Twitter.
I've told her a million times.
Twitter. Twitter. Y'all gotta be twits to be on Twitter. As much as all of being pinnable and a pinner and on Pinterest and Pintastic and need a pin vacation and all that. Twitter. So here's who Twitter is for. Twitter and Instagram are for you for two reasons. If you are at a convention, to organize events. It's really what Twitter is for. It was designed for people in Frisco to organize convention events. It's just gone bigger. The other thing that Twitter is for, right, is blogs. If you got a blog, definitely need Twitter. Art blog, anything that you're doing. If your audience, if your collector base is 25 to 30, boy, you better be on Twitter and Instagram, because that's where they are. Mostly. And they really do look and buy and do stuff. On Twitter, there's a bunch of businesses based on Twitter. So here's what you need to know about Twitter. Make sure your everywhere you are, header is branded to you. That big long picture bar gives you an option to change it. Definitely change it, customize it. Make sure your profile pic matches whatever your other profile pics are. You'll see me all over the internet like this with my pigtails going, yay! Just make sure that's everywhere, right? Make your page look nice, because that's like you dressed up and went out. All right. If you're going to tweet something from a website, use Tiny URL. That's a service. You just go on Google, you go Tiny URL, and it'll give you a shorter URL, so all your 140 characters are not used up on your blog or your web page or whatever. Pictures. Don't just, unless you're really funny like Zafrank, don't text. If you're super, super funny and you can just crack people up around you, go ahead and text. If you have that skill, it's superpower, and you will win on Twitter. If you're not the funniest person in 140 characters you have ever met, pictures.
So
Yeah.
So use pictures for Twitter?
Mm-hmm. Unless you're super, super funny.
So photo pictures of what?
Of everything that you're putting on Facebook and Pinterest, it all works there. Twitter's the same stuff. It's just another place to put it out.
So for me, it'd be just my photographs.
Pictures of your work, pictures of you inside of your studio. Oh my gosh, like painting right now. You know, in the middle of creation, whatever it is your style is, that's more my style. Whatever your style is, whether you do like this beautiful arrangements of art supplies and paint and take a picture of it and put it on Twitter, you're just giving people a peek into what you're doing. People who don't do art are fascinated by how we do art. It's something we can use. Yeah?
So that can come off your Facebook.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would take a picture of you and you put hashtag paint.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll even go over some secret hashtags.
So explaining.
I don't even know what I have.
Okay, we're gonna do hashtags. We're gonna do hashtags. Okay, but the first thing we're gonna do is follow. Yeah?
I just want to get back to the truncated URLs.
Yeah.
Do you ever use Bitly?
I believe we do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bitly, O'Reilly, Tiny
It's
URL.
nice because you can track what you're getting.
Yeah, Bitly is nice because you can
What is it
track.
called?
So-
BITLY.
Yeah, also good. Yeah, see, there's so much stuff that makes your time more awesome and easy. You don't even have to be afraid of the technology. If I can do this, I am not technologically savvy. I know I sound it, but I am not. I am not, but a short year ago, I just sat there and looked at my husband and said, fix it. Now I just know to go to YouTube and tell YouTube to fix it. But it's just out there for you. So you don't have to be good at it or ever be comfortable with it. The smartphones and these smart computers just make it possible. How do you get followers on Twitter? Right?
Yeah.
So, it's the same way, same thing as everything else. Follow at least everyone in the VAA, right? Because then everyone who's following them can see you, so definitely follow all your friends. But then follow other people. Like if there's galleries, if you want to be in a gallery, follow that gallery across every social media venue it has. But Twitter is where you can talk to them. Right? Can't really, you're going to be creepy if you email a gallery on their Facebook page all the time and comment too much on what they're saying. Right? And but Twitter, if they say something in 140 characters, you can pretty much say something back. It is a place to start a light relationship with a business that you want to have a deeper relationship with. So galleries, other artists that you admire or like, and influencers, people that have something in your field that have a lot of followers. If you notice that, follow them, comment on their stuff, retweet. In the VAA, we could all use a lot more of that. Guys, retweet, share, click, comment, like, subscribe. Help the VAA build up, because everybody's sort of like, become an army, move that stuff forward. It moves forward your own feed. So definitely do that on Twitters. People pre-sell on Twitter. They do it. Jasmine does it there too. You've really got to, if you're going to beat the Pinteresters to buying something, you've got to be on Twitter. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the elf coats on Etsy.
No.
Okay, so there's a big elf coat movement on Etsy. And there's this lady, I follow her Catwise. She's a bunch of followers, lives in a rainbow house somewhere in here in Texas. And I'm like not kidding, like the house is like the most incredible paint job I've ever seen. I'd move in right now if I could just uproot her and just kick her out of her own house. I have wanted a coat for 2 years. I've never ever been fast enough. She pre-announces when she's going to upload them on Etsy, and if you are not there with the fastest connection on the planet, you're not getting a coat. The only lady I know got a coat was just rich and drove to her place and bought one directly. So I'm just saying you can build that up for your artwork. So you can definitely pre-sell on Twitter. While you're going through everything, add buttons to everything you can. Facebook lets you add your Twitter buttons, lets you add your Pinterest buttons, lets you add YouTube. Pinterest lets you add buttons. YouTube lets you add buttons. Everything lets you add all your other social media quick links. Always do it. So I have a bunch of Pinterest followers because I have a Pinterest thing on YouTube, and I always post all of anyone who shares their artwork with me on my Pinterest page. I share their work, and so I get followers like about 5 to 10 a day, just passively because that link. So share all your links. Make sure your links are everywhere. If it gives you the option, you've got a Twitter account, put your Twitter link on your blog because it's going to give you that option. If Facebook says, do you want to include Twitter in this? But do not fall in the trap of, and I understand how it's so tempting to have something post across everything.
Okay.
It gets spammy fast and people will unfollow you. You have to be very careful with that service.
So what's the difference? I'm sorry.
Okay, so sometimes how you write something up on Facebook is not the quick, witty way you would put it up on Twitter. But if you have these two things linked together, it's just going to drop that Facebook post on Twitter. It's going to capture 140 characters or whatever you said in the beginning of your Facebook post, which is not how you would set it to your Twitter audience.
Exactly.
And then you're going to probably have to retweet it. It gets spammy, and people can tell you wrote it in. That's, you know what I mean? You've heard of that sense, just writing it in, not really putting in effort. So it's like when people just don't put in the effort. When you don't put in the effort, people know, and they're not going to share it.
So can you pick which ones do and which ones don't then?
I'm sure there is a way. I never mastered it, and I just took it off. I just made a decision about what social media faces I cared about and what time I was going to dedicate to it. You can use a program like Hootsuite. Monica Melger is very good at it if you want to pick somebody's brain. And it will allow you to make specific content like in one sitting and set times for it to be posted, and it will automatically post that content for you.
And it's called Hootsuite?
Hootsuite. I don't think it's cheap, but it is out there. The only problem with this is if you're not in your feed regularly, you don't know what your fans said. If the machine does it for you, you don't know what important, like, amazing comment might happen. Yeah?
So if you're not active on Twitter and stuff, you don't want to have those buttons on your websites.
No. If you're not on Twitter, don't put the Twitter button on, because then you just look like you're not doing it. Only put the buttons on the stuff that you're doing, right? You only want people where you're putting stuff up. So Twitter, they say, is 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Successful Twitter people seem to post a little in the morning. They sort of post throughout the day as they're going. They kind of, without being spammy, they have an update of their life. What I've noticed of very successful Twitter people would be like, There's a lady I follow, she makes these gloves, and you can see that she takes a picture in the morning when she's cutting the fabric. And then in the afternoon when they're sort of assembled, there's another little update. And then she models them later. And I like that. I like to see the process. I even follow that. It works. But they say 1 to 3. You just got to see when your people are online. Like Helix followers, I follow that show Helix. We're on at night. So if I'm going to comment, it's going to be at night. Yeah?
Are you seeing this on smartphone or are you seeing it on your computer?
Both. You can do it from either. If you have a really good smartphone, you can do it from either. I have a really good smartphone. My kids have murdered it several times, so it doesn't function as it should, which is why I'm about to explain why I'm not on Instagram. Because mine take the camera out. I got to get better armor. Twitter is mostly used for intel by most companies. Most people don't know that. Twitter is actually used as data mining. Have you guys ever heard of data mining?
Yeah.
Yeah. So most companies go to Twitter and they just use it to use the hashtag references, the trending terms. There's a bunch of search options for Twitter where you can find out what's hot right now. And they just try to figure out what people are talking about. But you can look and see what art hashtags are big that way. If there's big trending, something happening in art that you want to participate in. Hashtags. All a hashtag is like being a digital member of a club. So if you have a hashtag painting, that means I don't care. So there's this thing where people go hashtag now whenever they say something in real life, like crazy people where they're like, hashtag so funny, hashtag here I am. Don't do that. That's for people under 20. But I'm just saying, thank you. I'm just saying that it's like a club. So if you have a hashtag painting and somebody were to enter the word hashtag painting into Twitter, every single person who posts with that hashtag will pull up in that feed. It's a conversation. It's a way to eliminate the noise. So you can't have some weird, obscure hashtag nobody's looking for. You're the only person in the room talking to yourself. You have to, like, Art Crawl Houston would be a relevant, good hashtag. If you're in Art Crawl Houston, everything that you have should have that hashtag posted as it's going up, so that anyone who's looking for whatever's happening in Art Crawl Houston, who's looking under hashtags, is looking for you. I like to hashtag everything in Twitter because people are lazy. I mean, not just Twitter, but Pinterest too. Just everywhere, because people are lazy, and a lot of times they repost, they will not change your text or your titles. This is just good to know in general. People are lazy. So, say you've got a pin, and you've got all those descriptions in your name, they're never gonna they're not gonna say this is my favorite. There's like 1% of people retitle. Guess what else they also don't do? They don't rename your picture name. So all those pictures that you're putting up on the web that people are sharing and using, very few people will rename that file. And Google reads the file name. I like to think of these as traps. I'm always putting traps, right? So if you're anywhere and you're putting like stuff on DeviantArt, and you have named your file names well, and you have titled well, that's a trap. Every time someone changes it, they're going to share it, they're going to put it out there, they're not going to change it. And your stuff, you ever notice like how you'll search name and some weird pictures will show up of you, but other stuff will not? That's because you got a little bit lazy, and all the pictures you're posting up, you left with those numerical names. Like when you just post it with that numerical name. Well, then Google just reads the numbers, it doesn't read your name. But if you put your name and the location, then that picture is going to be forever on Google. You ever had a picture that was forever on Google? You're like, oh my God, how did that get there? I can't get rid of it. It's because it's named well. So Google knows what it was. That's all it is. Google knows what it was. And so people are really lazy. You can use Twitter to figure out what's trending. Use that little toolbar. It guesses too. It's always guessing what you want. Use the fact that it's guessing.
So how can you use the hashtags to your advantage? Like,
well, because if, again, it's like you were in Art Crawl Houston and you wanted to be part of the people that were associated with Art Crawl Houston, if everything that you posted about you being in Art Crawl Houston was hashtag Art Crawl Houston, then here I am, I'm a regular person, I'm going to Art Crawl, I want to know what I'm going to bother to look at. I don't want to look at everything. I want to know what I care about to see. I might go hashtag Art Crawl Houston in the search bar, and I'm going to look at all the posts that are under that and decide. Because I can't go through all of Twitter, that's too much.
Are you guys familiar with tag clouds?
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
even know what a hashtag is.
So just real quick, there's something maybe you've used. Sometimes you're going to see a little bubble on the side of a page.
Might do
There's going to be a bunch
that,
of
might work for
words,
this.
right? There's a bunch of words that are on the side of a page, right? And depending on what page you're at, these generally is a cloud of associated words with whatever it is you're looking at. So if you're looking at a picture of, a red car, obviously red and car are going to be the two biggest words, but there's going to be a bunch of other words in various sizes and colors in that cloud. Now those represent other words that are associated with whatever it is you're looking at. So that cloud of words, it represents the tags that are sort of important to you. Now sometimes you'll see a hashtag cloud, which will show just what it says.
So all we're talking about hashtags, is a keyword or tag with this symbol in front of it, and the code that most of the internet is written with recognizes this is a group or a conversation. And it will sort anything with this into a group. That's all it is. It's just a sorting system.
So you put the tag, and then you put whatever you got to say?
Yeah, but it has to be something someone else is looking for.
Okay.
It can't be something like, I just ate my lunch, unless a lot of people hashtag I just ate my lunch.
And then
Which I probably actually would.
And then you'd be associated with all the other people who say hashtag I ate my lunch.
You're in that group. Yeah?
So do you have to have a Twitter account to write in hashtag, so it won't turn out blue? It won't work if you write
To tweet, you gotta have a Twitter account though.
No. So on my Facebook page, if I put hashtag whatever,
so
if nothing's gonna.
It's not going to go to Twitter. What it is on Facebook is Facebook just recently adopted the hashtag system as a way of helping us filter through the noise. And so it's new. There's not that many people even using it yet. Sometimes I'll check to see how it's going. Some things are trending more. Like Art Carl Houston had a bunch of followers, had more people contributing. And sometimes painting doesn't even have that much. Facebook is new to it. Twitter is really experienced. But if you're trying to leave a piece of content up there, like say you were on Pinterest and you hashtagged everything and somebody tweeted that, or from your webpage, they're going to tweet the hashtags. They're going to tweet all of that with it. Whatever goes is going to go with it because they're not going to bother themselves.
So where do you put the hashtag and the word?
Okay, so like an example would be, say you posted a picture of your painting that's an art crawl. And you would go, this is my new painting in Art Crawl, yay, hashtag Art Crawl Houston.
Okay.
And then now that post goes with all the other posts that are about Art Crawl Houston if somebody were to look. It just helps people find you in the dark.
If you think about it this way, that hashtags are now the universal search criteria across multiple platforms.
Yeah, everyone's adopting it.
But it's limited because it's a search term by association. You're basically saying hashtag I'm associated with this. Okay. So everybody else who says hashtag I'm associated with this also pops up.
Do you guys remember all the hashtags about snow in Houston? Yeah. Yeah, that's what that was about. But if you clicked one of those, if you clicked it, then it would take you to all the posts that had hashtagged about snow in Houston. So you could see a lot. That's a lot of how viral content gets driven. Yeah?
But if I want to find out about Art Crawl Houston, should I go to this Google search window and type in hashtag Art Crawl Houston, and it will give me...
There are tools by which you can do that.
Yeah, there is stuff it will give you, but what I would say is that'll get overwhelming. Do it per area you're in. So like, if you're in Pinterest, do hashtag Art Crawl Houston. See if anything's come up. It may not, because Pinterest is a very big site and it may not be specific to that. I think it actually does have stuff. But you might go on Facebook and you're going to see a bunch of stuff that's going to pull up for Art Crawl Houston, and then if you go on Twitter, you're going to see a bunch of stuff. Now, say you have a blog, like we all know about Matt's blog, right? So if he hashtags appropriately and he creates tweetables, then not only does he tweet about his blog, but if somebody can come by, they can catch your tweetable right off your blog and retweet it, and then it has a link back to your blog. So you just make it easy for people, because again, they don't want to do it. If you make it easy, we have a campaign for the video game company Too Cute for Bacon. Because it's about these pigs that are too cute for bacon, and so they're too cute for bacon. And so that's our hashtag, and we're building that campaign from the ground up, and so I'm populating the internet with a bunch of content and stuff. But one of the things that I'll do on the webpage is I'll have funny sayings that we'll write they're tweetable. They're 140 characters with the hashtag too cute for bacon, and matching and very tweetable pictures. So it's biteable. The other thing I really, I'm going to say this again and again, especially as we go through Instagram and the rest of it, Attention span right now currently is the last stats 2014 is 8 seconds.
Whoa, say that again now. What?
Attention span for the human race where we are connected to the internet is 8 seconds.
Holy cow.
It was 12 minutes 10 years ago.
Yep. And to think that YouTube gives you 15 seconds on their longer ad run.
You're done. Aren't you? Aren't you done in 8 seconds? You're like, no, let me. As soon as it goes past 3, you're like, oh.
If I put a video up on YouTube, it should be...
No.
You
But
have
that's
8 seconds
how
to get their
long
attention.
you have to get anyone's attention. To get them, so there's this 8-second window you have to get anyone's attention to get them to pay attention to anything else you have to say. I know it's a lot of pressure. It was something that I grappled with, like, what could I say in 8 seconds that'll get them to stay on my YouTube channel, which is why intros and thumbnails and your forward-facing stuff and everything you say, because they're going to look at your Facebook page and in 8 seconds decide if they're going to like it or not. Right? And if you always just put that, realize that, I have 8 seconds to get people to care about what I'm doing. You have very beautifully branded stuff. Somebody could, in 8 seconds, make a decision about whether they're going to continue, like, that's them or that's not them. And that's really the goal, right? Is just give people all the information they need in 8 seconds to decide if they are like you. So that gets us to Instagram. Instagram.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Where did Instagram go?
I never even looked at this.
I can wrap it up in 25, I promise I can. I know we're all
I know we're all downhill.
Alright, I'm going to have to use this one because we went and did exactly what you said we'd do. Alright, we're going downhill. Instagram. Okay, here's what you need to know about Instagram. Instagram is a picture sharing system. It is a picture communication system. Like Facebook, it has a feed, so it's fast. It also has a video system now. It's competing with Vine. You get 15 seconds of video on Instagram, 8 seconds of video on Vine. How would you use that as an artist to your advantage? Right? Because if you can keep your videos, these catchy videos, to 8 seconds, you're there. Well, say I'm a lost wax caster and I'm about to pour some molten bronze. That's 8 seconds of very interesting video. Right? If I'm pouring resins on a canvas, if there's an action part of your process in your art making, take advantage of it and make a video of it.
Lead with the best 3 seconds you have.
Yeah.
In everything you do.
Yeah. Best 3 seconds. Like
Just
whatever.
lead with
if there's something about, like, if you throw paint behind an airplane and it's about to hit a canvas, film that. Right? Whatever you have that's exciting, if you're lucky enough to have that, definitely take advantage of that. It's always about looking at your strengths as an artist. If you've got an exciting process, do that. Instagram is good for photographers and it's good for artists. It has a younger audience. You just have to understand your collector base, right? But if you're trying to get the attention of young gallery owners and younger, more up-and-coming stuff, it's a good place to go. It is a square format. They like things that are framed square, and they have a filtration system. And it is the same as Twitter and the same as Facebook on all the rules. It is just exactly the same.
That's a square format. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
The photos are square.
Yeah, the little pictures are always square. For a while there, I thought I had a cousin who was a tremendous photographer because she's just on Instagram with a good filter. She was just good at the filters on Instagram. I was like, oh, you just took a great picture of a snake. It's just totally got snowed by the Instagram filters. She let me go for like a month. Thinking she was good, but she was not good. And it's the same thing as Twitter. It's studio. It's the exciting things that are happening in your life. Just know it's a younger audience, that they have more of an 8-second attention span than anybody else. You can impress anyone in business, though, if you say you have an Instagram or Twitter following. I just think that's amazing. And it's just a visual sharing feed. And if you have the time and attention and a camera phone and you are comfortable in the space of just making a record of your process, it's another great tool. And if you trend there, it's another great place to trend. It does not hurt to come into place and say, I'm strong here, I'm strong here, I'm strong here, I'm strong here, I'm strong here. So, but I am not on Instagram because my kids broke my phone. All right, blogs and websites. Blog or website. I don't think more is more. If you have it in you to blog on Blogger, because Google owns Blogger, and make a website, do it. Because the more space that you're out there and more stuff that you have that people can find, it's better. It's like putting breadcrumbs. Make sure everything's pinnable to Pinterest and shareable. Just think about that now when you're thinking about it. Everything you put up there, ask yourself, is this pinnable? Would I put this in a board? Would I curate this image? Is this a beautiful picture in my studio? How would somebody relate to that content? Don't hire someone to do this. Because they'll charge you to go register that domain name and get your domain name, and that's like, what is that, 20 bucks to get a domain name, for real?
Yeah.
It's cheap. Yeah?
That was my question, was if, when I went the other day, I went just out there to GoDaddy just to see, under my name is worth $895. An alias that I picked that I sometimes use on the internet is like $19.99.
So
we'll
jerks
talk
have been
about
buying real
afterwards,
estate space on the internet. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just have.
On naming conventions and things like that, I'm happy to help answer questions afterwards.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff comes up. So
Okay.
Yeah, it can be a pain to name it, and you'll find that there were some interesting people who've gone and bought all the internet real estate of names that they thought they might like. And that is the battle that you have. You're always going to want to, on your website, when you think you want a name, Google that name. I wish I'd done it. Because Heart Party, wish I Googled it before I picked it. I love it now and it's working out, but I've had to fight for my Google space a lot harder than I needed to if I had thought about that naming more. Also, like, I'm branded as the Art Sherpa. A lot of Sherpa out there. So you just have to be thinking about, like, how hard is it going to be to climb to the top of my pile, and then versus how are people looking. And that's just your balancing act as an artist, but we're artists so we can balance that stuff. Google has 2014 WordPress tutorials that are amazing, that will take you literally from registering your domain name to registering your WordPress account to setting it up. It is friendly. These nice young men explain it like they're talking to people who've never seen the internet before.
Google.
Yeah.
Google has the
Google and YouTube.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
Google and YouTube.
WordPress is actually it's got its whole it's a whole ecosystem in and of itself. It's very inexpensive. It was designed for internet users to be able to get their content online. So there's a lot of great support for it. It's free. It's widely supportive, and it will grow with you for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you feel about Squarespace?
Well, I'm
sorry?
Squarespace. Not familiar with Squarespace.
How about Weebly?
What?
Weebly, yeah.
Some people have been using that and liking that. They've been talking to me. I have the most tutorials
Yeah,
on
there's
WordPress, so I want
so
WordPress.
many tools out there. Right.
Really, if you like a website, go check the YouTube review on it. Like, so if you're like, oh, I wonder what it was like to build a web page out of this. 25 million people have reviewed it on YouTube and will tell you exactly what its positives and negatives are. If you have a widget that doesn't install, just say, what's wrong with this widget? And you'll fix it yourself. It really is. It is as hard, it's just as much as you're just willing to put it in the search bar or ask YouTube, the answer is there. And that's what just kills me for artists. I hate to see somebody spend $2,500 on a web page, but they could have done themselves. Your web page needs a home page, an about you page, a blog, hopefully news, right? God, I hope there's news. Like, you know, every time you have a gallery opening or something jury's in, you want to be posting it up or you get an article written. A contact page, because you need people to, like, say, hey, I'd like to buy that.
With a P.O. box.
Yeah, with a P.O. box. We were talking about stalkers earlier. You know, it's hard to be invisible on the internet, but you might want to use a P.O. box. And a gallery. That's the widget. You'll have to, like, figure out what you like the best, experiment, you know. You're going to know what you like when you see it. You want your gallery to work really, really well. Use keywords. Know what they are. If keywords are overwhelming to you and you're not sure how to do that, I have on the handout this little company called Fiverr. And Fiverr will solve all of your branding problems for you. It's a website where you can get anything done for $5. And so these are people who are trying to build up their portfolio, or they're trying to show that they can do a particular type of work. You're only risking $5. And you can say, hey, can you tell me what my search engine optimization or my keywords are for this? And they'll come back and tell you everything you need to have. They'll do all that research for you. If you're like, I gotta save some time, or you can get them to pass out 1,000 flyers about an art show in a city if you need to. If you can think of it, it's on Fiverr. I did a lot of my branding and logo work, because that's not my I don't do like if it's not my specialty, I don't do it. I did it on Fiverr. I love what I got. I love it.
So they did your logo
Oh yeah,
for $5.
$5.
Well, you know,
Well, but we
yeah.
upgraded. So it starts out, your initial bid is $5. And you might want extra services, and it might be 10 or 20 or whatever. I think my whole logo system, because I needed really specific stuff, I was out around 100.
Yeah.
But we had revisions and, like, I was like trying to get a $4,000 logo for very little money.
Fiverr and many of these other things use them as filters to find good people.
Yeah.
Don't just blindly assume that because this guy has done 10,000 logos that everybody loved, that's your guy. Could be this person over here, and she's only done 10 logos, but for the same $5, you get what you want. So use these tools as a way to look for what you need. But there are places for great resources.
Do not use it for likes. Do not artificially inflate your likes. They look for that. They'll pull your video. They'll drop your content. They will punish you.
What do you mean artificial?
So a lot of times when you're in places like Fiverr, will say, get 10,000 more likes by tomorrow. And they'll say, real likes, we guarantee it. My mom fell into that. She had a video that was doing really, really well on her own, organically. And so she tried to inflate it. And I said, I don't think you should do it, but, you know, she didn't listen to me. And YouTube flagged her and pulled her content, and she lost all her views. Even though it said, oh, it's real people, and we promise, and that, don't artificially inflate it. It's just not worth it.
Artificially inflate
it. You'll see it when you're on Fiverr, where they'll say, we can get you more likes, we can get your page shared, we can promote it. No. Yeah.
So now that you can make static pages on a blog and make it look almost like a website, what's the argument for using one over the other? Is there an argument for using one over the other?
My argument is that if you have the bandwidth to do both, right, it's more footprint on Google.
Okay.
And anytime you make more footprint in real estate on Google, take it. Wherever you can do it. Every article you can write, every site you can upload to that you know is going to turn, like Etsy. Etsy's a crazy site. I just use it for the Google. Just for the Google. I don't really want to deal with any of that. Just for the Google. Because it's so hard to run an Etsy store. That's its own crazy headache. If any of you are doing it, I tip my hat to you because it's a lot of work on Etsy. So, but it's great for Google. And it's only 20 cents.
Yeah, how do you use it?
Well, it's only 20 cents to list on Etsy, so if you think of it as an advertising tool, you can open a store and put up a bunch of images and do some good keyword stuff. And if you don't really care if it sells or not, and you're not worried about, stressed about that, it's good on the search result. DeviantArt, some of you guys may know that website, is great on the Google search results. It's just, it pulls up images. So sometimes Craftsy has good Google search results. Sometimes websites, Google likes them, and if you notice that you're seeing a lot of stuff from a website about art from Google, like Art America, I don't really like them as like a resource, but if you notice that they pull up really well in Google, you might want to. It's just something that you can look at. How does Google interact with that space? So things that you can do to make your blog or your website do better is to create evergreen, useful content. So we'll talk about this. Evergreen means that this content will be shared, will be used for the future. It doesn't go away. It keeps working for you. My husband wrote an article about repairing a telescope. A telescope. Some weird telescope we had. He's very good at writing repair articles, and he wrote a nice repair article, I don't know, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And we still hear from people. It's been translated into all these languages. It's just global.
I get about an email a week on it.
Wow.
Just because it's just somebody saying, hey, I read your article and I can't figure out how to put this screw back in. And I've redone that same tutorial twice now over the years, just because it was like I can do it better. So I would go back and I'd redo it.
Yeah.
It keeps coming up.
Do that on the blogging section of your website and your blog. Make it evergreen. Yeah.
But how would you make money off of that?
Oh, on your blog? Or your website?
Or his article, say.
Or his articles. Okay, so there's a bunch of ways that you can make money off of a blog or website. Have you guys seen that where people are making money off a blog or website? It's eyeballs again. Remember how I said followers are valuable? If you have a lot of followers, so say as an artist, right, I paint with golden paint. Maybe I'm not one of their featured special artists that went to the featured art special golden paint school in the sky, but I paint with golden paint. And I have you know, 100,000 followers on YouTube and I have this many on Facebook and I got a bunch of people on my blog, I can go to Golden on LinkedIn, which we'll talk about later, and say, oh my God, do you guys see how much followers I have? You might want to advertise on my page if they didn't already ask you to. That's the thing. Like a lot of the artists that I know that are making money with this, they're not just making money off sales, because sales are great, but they make money when companies that have brand aligned things to what they're doing. If you're a photographer and you're shooting with a camera and you're on YouTube and you're doing well, tag word the brand of your camera and all the brand products that you're using, tag it in your blog, make sure they know, and if they're not paying attention, go tell them, I'm using your brand. I have these followers. This is what's happening. Because they might just pay you to talk about their camera.
Yeah. That takes a plan, though.
Yeah.
You can't just shoot from the hip with these guys. You got to go in there like, you know, I represent you, I am brand aligned. When your customers look at me, they see their customers.
Yeah, as artists, we have to be clever about how we like fill our coffers. Because, you know, it's sort of a feast or famine sort of business for most of us, which there's sales, and then there's not sales, and then there's sales. So, you know, then we do teaching or we do different things to sort of fill that up. But these are the other things that we can do to help. You know, when I talk about monetize, what I'm really saying is ways we make money. How can I make money off of what I know and what I do, maybe in a non-traditional sense, more than just the sale to the customer. Like, believe it or not, if you have enough, I believe it's Agnes Cecile, galleries will advertise with her. They want to be associated with her. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be crazy? To not only have a gallery ask to hang you, but to be like, can I pay you to be on your website? I'm waiting for that to happen for Matt here. Call to action. Always, always, always give a call to action. If you need subscribers, ask for subscribers. Whatever it is you need, politely and energetically ask for it. Because if you don't, they won't. They'll just come and go. You want that. And then here's the final thing that a lot of websites and blogs miss is video content on there. So on your home page of your web page, if you happen to have a YouTube video, put it on there. Because it'll get more traction. People will watch it. They'll stay on your web page longer. Just try to break that 8 seconds in any way that you can. So that is blogs and websites. Now, I know this is crazy and you guys don't like LinkedIn. I'm going to go over this real quick.
Oh no.
LinkedIn is a good thing.
Okay. I tell you, you have to just convince me.
Okay, I'm going to convince you. Because the gallery owners, the paint companies, and everybody who has any decision-making power on the planet in art is on LinkedIn. And it is a place that you can directly interact with them. You can see what they're posting. You can join groups that they're in. It is a place for you professionally and acceptably to say everything that's happening in your life. So you just juried into a show and you have linked into the galleries that you all want to be with and the publishing houses you all want to be with. You can post in the LinkedIn page, you just got in the show, and now all of a sudden those C-level decision makers in your field saw your stuff. Amen. Who knows what they'll do with it when they see it, but they saw it. How hard is it to get the portfolio into them sometimes?
Yeah, but don't they just get thousands of requests for it? Because every time I see LinkedIn, I erase it. Because it's somebody wanting to be on my, it's almost like I think they're asking me to be on their email list or something.
So here's
I don't understand what that means.
All right, so he is the master of LinkedIn. He has 500 C-level, executive level people in the gaming industry on his LinkedIn page. Only that.
LinkedIn is the way that the business community vets each other in a public way with our CVs, right? So I go out there and I say, here's all of my accomplishments, and I put them in a very public place. All of the people who've worked with me can now come and comment on this. So sometimes this happens publicly. Somebody goes, hey, you didn't do that, I did that, right? So, or but what's most powerful here, well, I don't want to get the camera. So the most powerful thing about this, though, is that it shows the network of people I'm connected to, what they have approved and said good about me or not good about me. And so this is a social vetting of business acumen online. And it's a very delicate world, right? Because even within LinkedIn, there are different sort of...
Your social status.
There's different areas by which you go out there and play, right? There's different things that we do. So to answer your question, yes, there are people out there just hunting your LinkedIn for your contact list. But you're hunting for theirs too.
Yeah, you
so
want
be
theirs
careful.
too.
So when they're asking, be
go
mindful.
check their LinkedIn page and go, do I want to be connected to the people
And,
they know?
and you should be, you should know them. You should have some connection to them.
Okay, because
like sometimes I'll connect to an artist I don't directly know, but we have brand aligned interests, or so I'm connected to like people in Golden Paint, and I'm connected to people at Liquitex Paint and Matisse Paint, Frederick's Canvas, and of course everybody over there at Art Business News, because maybe I might want to go to Art Expo again at some point. And I might want to have a better time there.
The general etiquette is you have to exchange cards to be a LinkedIn friend.
Well, so how LinkedIn works, right? When you go to a gallery, right? So say you interact with a gallery, you get invited to a gallery show, go ahead and LinkedIn with them, right? I saw your show, loved it, great, want to know more about your shows. They're happy, they wanted to be able to reach you anyways, right? If anyone in the art business world hands you their card, LinkedIn, right? You can go out and look for contacts if there's somebody that you need to for your business. Like if you have a camera company and you shoot that camera, you might want to try to link into people at that camera company. So if it's just related to all this this should be related to you. It shouldn't be like hairdressers and like dog groomers and like all this crazy, like it should be. I seem like a schizophrenic person because of my art gaming universe. So I like C-level gaming and then art. It's just insane, but it makes sense if you know what I'm doing. But it should make sense to what you're doing. So if you're in the art world, it should be galleries, it should be publishers, it should be magazines, and it should be other artists, and that is your community. This is your resume. And more business people, galleries are slow, but they are all on LinkedIn and they're looking. And you know what? They want it to be easy. They want it to be totally easy. So if they know you have your whole kit together and your whole thing is like, I juried into all of this, and they look at you, and you can tell who looked at you. So if a gallery is looking at you and looking at you and looking at you, you might want to say hi.
Are you posting the pictures there?
Are you posting pictures? Post your pictures. You want to work your LinkedIn page, that's the other thing. My LinkedIn page is very finished. I don't do the paid membership. He does a paid membership. I don't have a life where I need the paid membership. So again, free, artist, free. But I have every picture, I have everything filled out. They have a little bar that lets you know how well you've done. If you're going to do LinkedIn, take it all the way to the degree. Take it all the way there. You're an artist, you don't have to, be as like, his thing is all slick and like a, CV, like a resume. Mine is a little more anecdotal. I'm an artist, it's okay. You still got to be an artist. But that is a place that people don't want to go, but it's a great place to go. Right? Like, I reconnected to my friend Brett Maley on LinkedIn. He's the appraiser at Pawn Stars now. Right? And runs Art Connections in Vegas, which is, such a great gallery. They move a lot of stuff. And they take artists and they do a great job, and it's a great person to connect in, right? And then I get to know the people, peripherally in that circles, and that helps me get back where I'm going. So LinkedIn is a good thing.
Can you have more than one account on LinkedIn? Because the business and my art are not that closely alike.
I believe you can. I think I've seen that.
So there's different types of accounts inside there in LinkedIn. Just like you can create a company account, you can create a business account, you can create a personal account. But generally, you, the person, the idea behind LinkedIn is this: this is a public place where you can say, this is who I am and the people and businesses I associate with, and people for publicly vetting that.
Okay.
But I keep getting like spammy LinkedIn requests from people that I know but vaguely know and really don't want to, and like months and months on end I keep getting these requests.
There's a status within LinkedIn. As soon as you crest 500 people, you get this little 500 plus mark. So for a lot of folks, there's a race to get to 500. And you've got to be, again, you got to be really careful because you have to curate your friends in LinkedIn.
Yeah, I like that. Curate your friends on LinkedIn. Curate your business associates to be brand aligned to what you're doing.
And so you're thinking that this is different than Facebook? You don't curate friends in Facebook?
Yeah.
No. Facebook is a numbers game.
But if you notice in Facebook...
So what happens to you on Facebook is normally on your personal page, you would curate friends, right? But if you create a public page with an art following and you break any numbers, they're determined. And they will find you. Like, I have a complete separation between my Facebook page and my fan page. They just find you. You know, and then once they follow you, because they don't have to friend you, they can follow you, then you got to be thinking about everything you're doing and saying on Facebook, and then at some point you just go, okay, it's all numbers and it's fine. You just go, you know. I had just released the need to have any personal opinions on Facebook, just in general.
Okay.
You know. But hopefully these are wonderful
your
problems
personal
to have.
and your business.
Yeah, because I've had so many. If you don't have any of your fans following you over, it's not a problem. If you do, then you just got to make adjustments to your current reality. Your reality in social media, your reality will constantly change. What is true last week if you're so lucky, what is true last week may not be true this week. These are wonderful problems to have. To have so many followers, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So Google, we talked about Google being a blind man in a hurry. Google doesn't see, Google only reads. So when I'm posting things like pictures, right, not only am I thinking, is it pinnable, is it shareable, is it look like me, is it great, like what I'm putting out there. When I'm titling it, can you do this for me, the title thing? Thank you. So what I would like to say, oh, you're gonna, I didn't just hold it up. So when I'm titling a picture, everybody normally has like little 1J, okay, that doesn't mean anything to find you ever again. The way your camera titles your pictures is just about keeping it from being crazy on your computer. Right? Not about ever finding you on Google again. So if you're saying an artist that specializes in red abstracts, then your title should be red abstract. Notice these are dashes, not the underscores. I probably spelled that wrong. Is what it is. Spell correctly. Painting. And then your name at least. Okay? So what you want is the words, no capitals, dash word, dash word, dash word. And that's what Google can read the easiest, no matter what script it's dealing with. I don't understand the real technological reasons for this, but smarter people than me have made a bunch of tutorials explaining why I would rather have a dash than an underscore. And all I can tell you is my result is now, when you look on Art Sherpa, my pictures pull up and I'm all over Kevin Hart's face.
It's a dash, not a dot.
Dash, not a dot.
So you're saying dash first because I don't see.
No, dash first. Word, then dash, word, then dash. What the dashes are is to tell Google this keyword, this keyword, this keyword, this keyword.
Okay, so in terms of your name,
put your name on there.
It shouldn't be dashed. It should be all together because that's.
I would still do that. Because what if somebody only knew one half of your name and that you did a red abstract painting? What if they just knew, like, what if they know I'm Cinnamon, but they don't know Cooney, and they know I painted the snowman, and go snowman painting Cooney? You can still find me on Google.
Okay.
Because I dash everything.
So question.
Hey.
So would it be feasible to, if your name was John Doe?
Yeah.
Would it be feasible to put red dash abstract dash Joe dash Doe?
Yeah.
Dash Joe Doe.
Like you could, yeah. So sometimes there'll be a length issue where the title, so you got to balance between how long of a title it can handle, because it'll tell you too much going on here, to like the description. And that's why I'm always like, it's a blind man in a hurry. How quickly and effectively using keywords can you describe what your image is? And that's why often I won't put the title in my title if I don't have to. I might have it for filing on my own computer, but when it goes out onto the web, because I'm setting traps, it's breadcrumbs. Hansel and Gretel, but these are effective breadcrumbs birds don't eat. So when I title everything correctly, like my pictures, and when I make my keywords on my blogs and my posts and my Google and my YouTube and my Twitter, everywhere I am, everything is keyworded correctly. And when I join groups, but make sure I have all that. Then when somebody searches my name in Google, Google goes, scan, 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 all this stuff. I know exactly who you mean. Because all you're trying to do is help Google tell somebody else where you are. It's like playing Marco Polo.
Do you do that on your Pinterest titles too? So you do, and I'm sorry, what you said is different from what you did. So you're saying, first you put word dash.
No, I don't think I had a dash in front of it. I'm going to pull that back up. There wasn't a dash in front of it. It was red dash, incorrectly spelled abstract. No dash in front.
Thank you.
Yeah, no dash in front.
Caps, because you put a cap.
And I said no caps, I did put a cap.
So
that's how I got in trouble with paint with twist. Sometimes I capture.
Lowercase, right?
Lowercase.
Lowercase, because it's not case sensitive, and so there's just no point in giving you information it doesn't need.
So in terms of keeping track, I mean, imagine from what you're saying that we're going to be posting lots of pictures because of everything you've told us. So now red abstract, which would actually characterize mine, I can't use it more than once.
Right, but you could be like red abstract, lower swirl. You can do other things to help you find your image. But when you're just putting it up and out there, just make sure that the searchable keywords people are using to look for it, if you have 20 red abstracts, you might do 1, 2, 3, 4 somewhere in the title for the purposes of you not going insane. You might even hide its name in there if you name things, but that's not how people are going to find you. That's how you find your file on your computer.
That's what I was, that's what I was
So the internet will accept 10 red abstract
It does.
Yes.
It does.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. All that adult content is not well named.
All that what?
All that adult content is not well named, which is why you want that safety search on your computer.
How do you name them exactly? Is it like on your posted on the Facebook or
everywhere?
In JPEG?
What I do is when I take a picture that eventually is going to go into the world, I name it how I know I need it to be the minute I have it.
And name it on your computer?
Yeah, in my computer.
In the JPEG.
Pardon me, I think it's the file name.
Yeah.
The file
name.
Yeah, the file name. I name it how it's going to be for everything in the future because I know I might. Because here's the thing, realistically, I'll have folders and I might share this here and share this here and I might pull it out again and I might be tired. I don't want to spend the whole rest of my life renaming everything. So I do some economy management of like naming my files. So Pinterest may rename stuff once it gets it up because it has to do for its giant, massive everything. But not everything will rename stuff. And as long as it's there, it's like a trap. Maybe it'll deploy, maybe it won't. It has certainly deployed for me a bunch. Like when I made this change, that's how I broke the Kevin Hart wall. Because breaking Kevin Hart's incredible media storm, I just was like, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to get a picture anywhere in the sea of like celebrities. And that's how I started eking my pictures because, you know, it's just one picture. It's not really, Google isn't going to say it's important, but once 5 or 6 of my fans share that picture named correctly, then Google goes, oh, that's very important. Slam. So that's the other reason your fans help you because as they share your content, as they do stuff for you, right? If somebody gives you a backlink where they post something from your blog on their page and a link back to you, Google says, you are so much more important than I knew yesterday. Up the metric. Bigger up here. So every time somebody uses that, it helps you with Google. You want people to share it. You want it out there. You know, we got the 8-second attention span, which makes me crazy, and you know where you should put your content. Google has 2.9 billion monthly searches. That's monthly. I just can't even wrap my head around that.
Before we move on to that, about the titles, I think, so this is just a Google search title. This is not necessarily what you would title your piece.
No, no, not for an art show. Be yourself in an art show. This is just for social media and Google.
But you could.
It's a new trend.
This is for the Terminator that is Google and the internet. You're just dealing with that. You're just dealing with the robot. That's all that is.
In terms of the, you talked about the association with galleries and magazines and the like, which is a really good idea. Yeah. Where, if you didn't want to do it, but in anything, one of these social media, which one would you recommend?
Right now, Facebook, but I would still back myself up with Pinterest. I wouldn't pick just one. I would get Pinterest because Pinterest will matter.
So not LinkedIn.
If you're only picking one, no, because no one on LinkedIn will care unless you have followers.
Yeah.
All right. Now all of a sudden, as I'm getting followers, I'm hearing from all these people on LinkedIn that I didn't hear from before, and they're like, "Oh, hey!" I get weird offers for jobs and I'm not qualified for it. I'm like, I don't even do that, but because they just notice that their little search group notices in it. But LinkedIn only comes into play if you've got the rest of your kit together. But really, if you're trying to get somewhere and you have the rest of your kit together, then that's just a final killing blow of awesome.
With your with your art, with not your video games, but with your art, how long did you, when you started realizing and understanding and doing all of this did you start realizing income?
I think I started selling the paintings like again within 4 or 5 months of really having my kit together where I was like, oh, I'm really seeing something. That's why I'm like, it's a marathon and I'm not even really seeing any of my growth yet.
It's really off subject, but how do you get a good photograph to post?
Okay, so from a phone or a camera?
A camera.
Okay.
Call me and I'll do it for you.
Yeah, well, she probably has advice on this. He probably has advice on this. I'm not as good at photography as like they are. So I try to go in the morning before my light is crazy and take it outside and make sure my shadow is not across it. I crop it as much as I can in my camera frame and I make sure, and I just check my focus, get a good clear picture. I take it in and use whatever stock editing software I have that came with my computer to crop it and color balance it. The other things that you can do with pictures when you take them is to add text. Pictures with texts do better than pictures without text. So like when it's, like I'll do this thing where I will have words next to my selfie with a motivational quote. That will do so much. That'll be like 30% better than just a picture of me. And so that's just something that you can do. Don't forget that you can add words to pictures.
Words that are embedded or words
yeah, embedded. Like I make a
photo.
copy of whatever my image is. I don't ever mess up my master image. I make a copy to work on. And so like for the Texas wildlife, I used my own artwork for some of the pictures of animals, right? Because, you know, I'm going to do that. And I put words with that. And then I posted those up on Pinterest, and so people who like the words that I put about wildlife with my wildlife paintings are sharing that. But that still all tracks back to me in my webpage and my blog.
Do you put a copyright with your name on all your images?
So we're gonna go there. So the next one is, oh my God, my stuff is everywhere.
Yeah.
So this is what artists say: is my stuff is gonna get stolen. I have just put
I'm so sick and tired of hearing that.
out there in the world, and they're going to take it, and they're going to take my ideas, and they're going to do that. And I'm so original, and they're going to do that. One, if you were really good at Google, you would have the shocking, horrible realization that very few of us are that original.
That's so true.
Oh my God. I went into all this thinking I was a pretty unique bird, and I was like, oh my God. Everyone is doing what I'm doing, and that is just true. People are doing what you're doing. Like, no matter how crazy it is, there's some other person doing what you're doing, because there's just a lot of people on the planet doing stuff. So we're not as original in the way that we think we're original. How we're original is the way she takes a water drop picture and the way I take a water drop picture will never be the same. Her voice will never be my voice. So we can all, like, Girls with Umbrellas is all big. But there's going to be winners in that market because there are people who paint it in such a way it will resonate with lots and lots of people. Your artwork will always be your artwork. So that's the first thing to just be like, okay, sometimes people will copy me. If you go into the teaching space where I'm in, be prepared to copy they copy everything I do, like everything I do. And if I put it up, it's going to have a copy, they're going to paint it. I'm a teacher, you know, I accept that's what I'm known as, so even though I have this fine art world going, that's the space, and I accept that space. But even if I'm a fine artist, you've also got to be like, you know how I talked about it's a $500 an hour attorney to have that conversation? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I mean, like, you can have that, you can copyright your stuff, and you can send off a letter to them and hope they'll stop. But anything past that, you're in a lot of money an hour for. Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
No, definitely send them a letter and tell them to stop.
There's a lot of great resources. Make sure you copyright your materials. Yeah. LegalZoom, I think.
Okay. Yeah. You definitely copyright your materials. He's right, LegalZoom. But the other thing that you can do is embed and watermark. Yep. And this is something I've just come to, and I think is actually really smart. Somebody really very, very media savvy suggested this to me because we were talking about this issue, which is that in everything that she does, she very lightly and not in an intrusive way puts her website, when she edits the image, in the bottom. So that's traveling with that image wherever it goes. You know, so it's not a quick link, it's not going to drop you back, but no matter who shares that image, no matter what they do with it, her little website is there. So I don't do watermarks because watermarks are not as pinnable. and I make this decision of I want
What do you
pinnable.
mean they're not pinnable?
I'm sorry. Why are they not pinnable? Well, people just don't. They see the watermark, it distorts the image for the same reason we wouldn't love it in a gallery. They don't want it in their Pinterest space. They might not want to share it. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. It drops by about 40%. And you just have to decide, yeah, if you want that lost or not. That's a decision. You have to sort of go, my stuff is everywhere and they can steal it. But I still want them to share it. And you've just got to find that balance of what's important for me here, what's right for my market, what's right for what I'm doing. I would definitely say I'm becoming an adopter of embedding, because you can do it at the bottom, you can do it in a way that's not obtrusive to the image, that stays still pinnable. And if anybody ever sees it down the road, it's evergreen whenever you do the little tiny text at the bottom of your image.
So it's not a link, it's just
No.
the text.
Yeah, it's just back to some contact something for
It
you.
doesn't seem that different from a watermark though, so I'm confused.
It's just, I can
So
do it.
small.
Yeah, a watermark that will stop somebody, right? You're talking like a watermark that will stop somebody is going to distort your image.
Yeah.
Because people are so good at,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're going to, I mean, like, if you put it out there, somebody's going to copy. That's going to happen.
Yeah, because their defense is always, well, everybody does it, so I can do it too.
Also, too, isn't it the quality of your upload? If you give them a good quality upload, then they can go take it and go print it out.
yeah.
But if it's not, when you're uploading it, you can reduce your resolution that when they
And
upload
you have a
it's
dance to
ugly.
play there because, again, good
Yes.
shareable content, beautiful visual
Right.
content
It's still pretty.
versus,
It's still pretty on the internet.
You know,
it's
just-
not.
I always just state my policies, because here's the thing, it's the honor system on the internet. Because people are going to do, I mean, they're anonymous, there's billions of them, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
To the purposes of a gallery carry, it doesn't matter who's copying you, they just want the person in there who's going to sell the artwork, book the space, and they know are going to help them pay their light bill. I mean, if you talk to them and you get down to what it really is about, yes, they're about the arts, and yes, they're caring about creativity, but they have to pay their bills. So this is a good way for you to be, you know, in a space to say, hey, I can help you pay your bills, right? And so even if somebody's copying you, they can't help them pay their bills, it's kind of a moot point. But you can copyright everything, you can write letters, that will stop most of it, right? My mom was really big in the 90s in the French street scenes. Do you guys remember all those French street scenes? She was on QVC and she did all that stuff, right? And copied in China all the time. All the time I would see images of hers on the side of the road from starving artist oil paintings, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be at New York Expo and there'd be the people coming to steal the images and then the lawyers following along behind them trying to stop it. And there's just, the world is what it is now. Right? I mean, you try to stop what you can stop, but the people who bought the oil painting on the side of the road were never going to buy her original painting out of the gallery anyways. And so you kind of have to fight what you should fight and accept what you cannot do a thing about. It's the only way to stay sane. You know.
How do you embed something?
Well, like putting in that URL. Like if I go into a photo editing software, you know how you can edit your pictures. Well, generally they'll have a text tool, and I'll use that text tool and find some, I mean, I'm just starting this and I'm liking this a lot. And I'm just putting a tiny URL at the bottom, and it just isn't affecting how my stuff is getting shared, so I'm like, I might keep that up. I think that's a good way of doing it. If it drops my shares, I might, because I accept that I'm putting stuff up on YouTube, so that's what's going to happen is going to happen.
And I even changed the transparency on it, so it's very unobtrusive.
Yeah, you can make it unobtrusive, but where somebody could find you again if they wanted to, and at least it's attributed to you. You know, I mean, because artists don't actually understand copyright. They'll say stuff like, "Oh, you only got to change 3 things." That's not how it works, right? So you're like, it has to be unrecognizable to a jury as the original image. So, and then when you start really looking, like that's why when companies like when they copyright a bunch of images that are highly commercial, it's kind of laughable. Because how can you know, if everyone's painting it and it's all over Etsy and it's everywhere, just because you had the attorney to copyright it, well, enjoy that crazy lawsuit case, because eventually people are going to lose their minds on you. So really think about, we're going to wrap up, think about seasonal or evergreen content. Facebook is seasonal, it comes, it goes. Work on your evergreen content because that'll pay for you forever, right? And evergreen content is something that eventually you could monetize. Remember to ask everybody what you need. Call to action. Ask them what they want to do. Pick a couple things and get good at them. And remember, you don't have to be a genius at everything. Somebody already is, and you can find that out. You guys have worksheets at the end. So I've told you guys how to Google yourself. Google yourself on an incognito window. An incognito window is a window that doesn't have all your cookies and data stored in it. Because Google's very helpful, and it follows everything you do. It wants to help you out. And so if you search for yourself a lot, when you start spelling your name, it knows you're looking for you, and it'll start guessing.
Yeah.
So you want to know what a complete stranger would find when they look for you. You're going to open an incognito window. There's instructions here on how to do it. You can also Google it. You're going to open it, search your name, and just deal with the reality of where it is. Anytime you want to know how you're doing, do an incognito window, because that's the only one that will tell you the truth. Set up a Google alert for your name.
Do what?
A Google alert. If you have not set up a Google alert for yourself, you should. Because anytime like a gallery uses your name in a promotion or somebody writes a news article about you, if you have a Google alert, Google will alert you. So you don't miss that awesome little bit of stuff to put in your news and share in all your feeds. Just like, oh my gosh, I got everything. I've got some instructions on Facebook to give you an idea of how to make that get a little bit better. I've got some instructions on Pinterest, because I think those are the two that if you're just doing something, please do it. I got some little instructions on your website blogs. The minimum of what you should be doing just to make those better, but do more if you can, because the more you do, the more you can start competing against places like Fine Art America in your own space, and you want to, because Jasmine Beckett does. And I mean, normally she would just be like with Brian Froud and the rest of them doing kind of wonderful, fabulous science fiction sort of illustration. She is living the dream. And I love that for her. I have resources, Fiverr, which I told you about. Canva, Unsplash, and PicMonkey are terrific resources for images that are open source, which means you don't have to pay for their use, like they'll let you use them and you're not in trouble. They're editing software that you can use for free so you can compete and look like a professional house. So if you don't have great editing software on your computer, these are websites that you can use and get an incredible result and have tutorials within them for everything there. And they're just, if you're like, oh my God, I really need a picture of a mountain with the words paint today, these 3 websites will get you there without any copyright issues. Social Media Examiner, yeah, you know, awesome. And then hashtags painting. So this is a link to the top painting related hashtags, right? And then this is Colossal. And if you guys aren't following it, you should be. That is the benchmark, right? This is just a guy with a blog. And he's now one of the most powerful people in the art industry. That benchmark, how he puts his images up there, the way he writes his text, it is perfect. If you want a perfect example of how to be pinnable and viral and get adopted by a lot of people, everything about his thing there is the perfect model. So that's that perfect example. And then just to be really annoying to like younger family members, like giving you a bunch of trending vocabulary words that you would never ever know. Like we can all be like, oh Matt, how's your blaudience? Right? You know, or you could say something and I just, oh no, I heard bird of mouth. You know, so much like cooler and hipper than you are. So all right, is there any questions? We are through it. We survived it.
I wanted to ask you about the number of posts. I know you put here daily for Facebook. Can you post too frequently into where people?
Yes. Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I've hit unfollow. I won't unfriend because it's hostile, but I will unfollow if it gets too cray-cray, or they get too radical and like they start like screaming like crazy stuff in the feed, and I'm like, oh, it's morning. Come on.
So these are kind of like the most.
Yeah, well, it's just, it's a commitment, like, you should be like, if it's relevant and it's good, or you have a project that's running for the day, you might play a whole game, like, this is the artwork in the morning, and then this is the artwork this afternoon, and oh, here it is finished. People might follow that, so you could post a lot that day, but, you know, you wouldn't want to be like, everything you read, everything you do, which is why I avoid those bots, because they get spammy fast.
Thank you!
You're so welcome!
I have my card.